Hello everyone and welcome to the Canadian Highlander, wow I am dark, to the 10th point Canadian Highlander Sunday tournaments. As usual, your host, the Red Mage, and joining me on the line I have Gosmith.
Hello.
And Lomeno2.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
We are about to show you some exciting, powerful Magic the Gathering, and specifically within the Canadian Highlander format. We're about to watch some powerful Magic. Why don't you guys tell us a little bit about what's this format about and what we're about to do?
Yeah, so Canadian Highlander is a vintage ban legal. I think you have a command there that can kind of show you what it is, but it's cube constructed basically at the end of the day. One of the cool things about the format, if this is your first time viewing, is it's one of the few formats I think in the game that really has almost is expansive of a range as the game itself has available. With the exceptions of a few notables like Landless Dredge or Manaless Dredge. Can't play that quite yet, but otherwise you can pretty much play whatever you'd like, to varying degrees. So the creative process in building in it and kind of the innovation of lines in the format are pretty large, and oftentimes that leads to a lot of exciting, spectacular, and sometimes even like very technical. So it's a brewer's paradise with a very wide range. At least my take on the format. Guys, but you got anything else on it, man?
Yeah, that is a very good recap. It's also a very varied format due to the 100 card singleton nature, meaning that you sometimes see some cards you really wouldn't see in other formats, like Mana George. And what else do we have? I'm just gonna find something. Blink of an Eye in an Eternal format, vintage. That is not something you usually see. But one of our players is playing that today.
I will give a quick shout out to Mana George or Mana Gorge or Hydra. It has had a little bit of vintage play. Some fringe decks, with Sylvan Library, but not a ton. You're not wrong. But yeah, no, you definitely get to see a lot of really cool cards. You get to see like cards like Berserk play, because Berserk sees play nowhere else. There's not an Infect deck or Blazing Shoal deck in Vintage, or at least there's not a good one that you could really play and hope to do well with. But yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff you get to see. You get to explore really the entire history, from now until all the way to the beginning of the game. And one of the other things that kind of, you could probably do the reading on the link there, but the point system, I think, really helps to increase that range as well. The restriction kind of breeding creativity, such that, like, the most powerful cards over the course of Magic's history, and in general, they tend to be cards that accelerate your mana to a high degree for very little input, and or have a very high selection rate, i.e., like your best tutors and card draw. Are all pointed. So there's 10 points allowed in each deck. The best quote unquote cards in the game, like Ancestral Recall and Black Lotus, are at 7, and then the cards range all the way down to 1. There's none that are more than Black Lotus or Ancestral though. So that kind of breeds some of the creativity in the format and kind of offers up some of the range. Otherwise, I think you just have a bunch of Storm decks running around that won by turn 2.
Or similar at least, yes. If you want to try this format, we have a very supportive Discord chat. I'm just gonna link it in the Twitch chat. If you're watching this, it will most likely also have a link in the comment section as well. There, people are more than happy to give deck feedback, just make jokes or talk about anything calendar, or sometimes, well, anything really. It's a great community, a bunch of great people. Everyone here is a part of it. Just a lovely bunch. We just had a great chat before this about, well, anything really. Tempo, I think we were talking about.
Yeah, what is the 10th point? Like, what are we doing here exactly?
Yeah. So today we're playing a Swiss tournament. I believe we have. Ooh, this is actually tough because we might have had another player join. We have at least 6 players in a Swiss tournament here. 3 rounds, and since this is a week by week tournament, that means we have a standing. So depending on how well you do each week, you will get more and more points, and by the end of the season, we will have a top 8 playoff for the season champion.
And if I'm not mistaken, right now in the booth, you got Gosmit, who is actually the reigning champion and Red Deck Wins specialist.
That is correct. Some people just want to see the world burn, man.
Yeah. Right now, I don't think
And-
we're going to see a lot of that today. Who was
No.
the 7th player we possibly got? That's exciting.
I believe that was Wolfgang, but it seems like he's left.
Nah, that's fine. We have 6. We can run with 6.
Yeah, I think Wolfgang was saying he's flexible and he could play if needed, but
Yeah.
Correct.
So the other thing is that since we run this every week, we just run sign up polls week to week, and I just made a command for people to get the poll for next week if they want. You can type !next poll, and that's gonna get you to a Google form. You can fill it out, and that's going to just give you everything that you need. Oh no, I didn't know that you can just watch a list of all the commands. Oh, that's down. Okay. That's not
one
what
other
I thought it
caveat
was. Okay, well,
for folks who are more familiar with paper played Canadian Highlander, as far as access goes in the format, pricing on MTGO is significantly less too. So shit like
Yes.
cards like Ancestral Recall are like less than $1.
Yeah.
That may
Yeah.
not be true right now. It may be $3 or something like that. I don't know exactly, but it's not many thousands of dollars.
yeah, and you can
so-
use rental services, which also help allay the cost, but
Yeah, that's a whole different boat though.
Yeah,
I mean,
but-
we could talk about if you're curious about getting into it, jump on the Discord, which I believe is command tagged. And folks can give you some heads up, some ideas on what's viable and probably the best way to go about it, whether that's renting or purchasing, for your needs.
all right. I
Case in
got
point.
pairings ready to go whenever you guys whenever you guys are ready.
Yeah.
They're posted in
Case in
chat.
point,
Let's
actually,
get. So who are we featuring? Let's start there.
I'm just checking because I think if it's. This is an interesting one. What are we up for? Are we up for some aggressive, some combo? What are you thinking, though, man? I have the deck list if you're curious. So
Yes, I don't have the deck list in front of me. Based on the pairings, what are the pairings? I don't not the players' names, but
I
like what
believe
decks
we
gonna use?
have. So we have
Oh,
a.
wait a second. We
high
have
five.
what? What is? Somebody just posted in chat. Wait, where am I?
Yeah, that's Jackie.
Oh, is Jackie joining?
That
Ah.
is. 1 second, let me just check if
Are you
he's
ready?
there. Because he was. Oh, there
Yeah,
are 10
okay.
responses now. That came in really late, though.
I don't have Jackie in the. Okay.
He did sign up, but he did it like a couple hours before at latest.
If
Oh,
Wolfgang's
yeah,
still
okay,
around,
I
we
see
can
him.
throw them
If
in.
Wolfgang's still around, yes.
Okay, let's see.
Everyone's just typing now. Anyways, while we're talking about that, so we have a High Tide versus, I believe, Paranundrox Academy. All
All right, so combo v combo.
Combo v combo, yes. We have
Okay.
Blue-Black Tempo versus Workshop Weenie, and we have 4-color Madness versus 4-color Turbo-Xerox, which I'm thinking might be a fun match to watch, actually.
Yeah, let's try that or the combo v combo.
Yeah. I believe
yeah.
last week we took a combo v combo, so I'm thinking maybe something different this time around.
No, we're not to knock on Arakasi. We've seen a lot of his deck on the stream, so I mean, and we may see more of it
Agree.
today. Probably will. So I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Plus,
that was
if
my line of thought,
I don't want to be necessarily to knock people down, but if people have some wonky combo that doesn't necessarily work, we might have to watch it during round 1 or not watch it at all.
Well, we don't have any really wonky combos. I mean,
Okay,
like,
no,
High
we
Tide-
have everybody. Nobody signed up with some with some absurd spies today this week. I
No,
see.
we don't have Croc playing today, do we?
It's not spicy napalm.
Yeah.
Alright, we have an 8-player tournament now.
Which is great. That's awesome. That means we get another round of Magic.
Oh, we have. Do we have WolfgangCloud?
He's in the chat room in the. voice chat.
Awesome. All right. All right. So, we lied. We have 8 people. Let me repair round 1 real quick because now we have more people, and let's see where we are at.
And assumption is, Gosman, I'm sure you're probably getting the list right now. We're going to see medium red and 4/5 color Oath. He may be in the middle of it. My best guess is probably either a low-end red deck or medium red, possibly like Boros aggro out of Wolfgang, and I'm gonna guess like an Oath style deck out of Jackie, but I don't know, like a control Oath list.
Yeah. But,
So we shall see.
We'll see. Let's see what our feature is, and then we can take it from there.
Yeah, my guess is DD Freddy.
Did I lose Gosmith? Gosmith. I think Gosmith's having some internet problem because he appears to be.
He may be. He also may have jumped off to get deck list and do all that kind of stuff.
No, but he left also the Discord call.
I'm sure he'll be back here relatively soon.
Yeah. But okay.
If you're good on your end, I don't. I only provide commentary. I'm not doing anything technical.
No. I'm good on my end. We can get started. I just a matter of figuring like. I don't know who's playing what because that's usually why I rely on my co-host to do that. So now I need to figure out what our feature is gonna be.
Yeah.
Also, if you are gonna play your games, don't forget to jump to the.
Channels. Actually, a couple of notes for our new players. Please make your game in the vintage tournament practice, not challenge each other directly, because otherwise we can't watch the game, and that doesn't make for a great stream. Also,
watching a stream itself is totally fine as long as it's not your match that's on. And yeah, we usually just split up to the other voice channels, game by game, so that you're not in this channel while commentators are commenting.
Yeah, you don't want to like listen to people commentating about your opponent's hand while you're playing.
But there's no requirement that you talk to your opponent if you don't want to, if you're not comfortable or whatever like that. It's just so that we can organize the game.
It's just so that we can talk. Like, I need to be able to talk to you, basically, and the other tournament officials. You don't need to talk to your opponent. Sorry.
So
Niklas also has a deck that might be interesting to watch, to be honest.
So what are the other decks that have entered?
Well, Reiyu hasn't sent me one.
Reiyu was on Workshop Weenie, I believe.
I see.
That's what he was saying. Is he's on?
So we would watch some Workshop Weenie action against what looks to be
Hello, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I got you, Yasmin.
Yeah.
So I'm just using my phone and my Wi-Fi.
Oh my God, the mic.
I disconnected, so this is over the phone. It's probably.
It's a little snowy.
Yeah, but
it's more than a little snowy.
Yeah. Hey, Gosmit, maybe is it going to be a problem that is going to continue, or do you think your internet will be up momentarily? Yeah, it will continue.
Usually it doesn't take too long, but we'll see.
Okay.
I can't promise anything.
Yeah, I was gonna say the phone may be a bad idea. It's really bad on this end. It sounds like you're in a wind tunnel. Yeah. Sorry, man.
No, so my vote is the other way. Let's get going. My vote is that we watch Niklas versus Reiyu while we wait for people to set up.
Okay. What's everyone on? I know Reiyu's on Jeskai Weenie.
Oh, I'm trying to avoid just saying the decks out loud until the players are.
Is everyone out of the room? Alright, we can wait then.
Yeah, no, it's fine. I mean, I would like them to stay in the room real quick just so that we can set things up with Moro and stuff, but... Okay, so, because Niklas is also a new player, so let's start it up. So, so I need Niklas to message me on Hangouts at Canadian Highlander Discord at gmail.com so that we can get this started. And I'm calling WolfgangCloud so that I can get... sorry, I'm calling Reiyu so that we can set up that call. Alright. So... Oh, wow, they already started playing? That's... unfortunate. Okay, let me...
Hello. How's it going?
Good. I just need to set up this Hangouts and I don't know.
Oh, they set the game to no watchers? Okay, let's, I think we have to watch somebody else. We cannot.
Oh. Okay, yeah, before we start the next round, let's just re-specify everything to everyone. If we got new players, I mean, it may just make
Yeah,
sense.
no,
so-
that's fair, but I think that, yeah. I
They don't
think
have watchers on.
yeah, they have no watchers on. So what do we want to watch? We would watch Luca versus Jackie. That's actually kind of fun.
Let's do it.
Okay.
What's Jackie on? He's the only one left inside the main room, by the way, so we're not spoiling anyone.
So Jackie is on blue-white control, I want to say.
All right, okay. So not Jeskai. I'm sorry. Just Azorius control.
Yeah.
That's going to be against what? 5-color madness? 4-color madness?
Wait, why is it? Oh my god. Yeah, I'll need a second. For whatever reason, stream is not working right. Okay, give me.
Okay.
Oh, I don't know why it was doing that. Okay. Yeah. So yeah, Luca is on his usual 5-color madness list.
This is actually a pretty cool deck. I think it may actually be very challenging for blue-white control, just because blue-white control tends to attack along a more traditional axis of like board control, whereas Luca's deck is kind of an aggressive value-based deck, which is kind of an odd way of putting it and describing a deck. Maybe even call it like kind of a hybrid aggro deck strategy, but it uses it gets a lot of mileage out of resources that are undercosted if you can set them up. That said, it does have some lower independent card quality issues in it. Like you see this card right here. I can't remember the name of it. Parasitic Episode or something like that. Not a great card, but it's going to work out well here. It's going to be a Thought Seize, basically. And he's got a clock on Jackie here. Now, that doesn't mean that blue-white is by any means out of it. They definitely they have a lot going on, but they attack along a more traditional control axis. Unless he's got some sort of combo in there, which I don't know deck list right now. Red and 6 is a big problem because there's a strip mine in the bin, and this game is just ended.
Oh.
Yeah, this game's probably
is,
over unless he can yeah, Narset doesn't do it. It's just a thing. Gonna draw, but then he gets a land blown up next turn, more than likely this irrigated farmland, and gets the strip mine back. You got strip mine recursion. So this is kind of like a lands package that's inside of this deck. It's funny. I was just talking to some folks about what does the lands package entail. It has a very wide range. It's really that nomenclature really applies to a range of cards. My assumption would be that this deck probably runs a very minor, very small package for the lands, the land style synergy like this. My guess would be that it just, at the end of the day, didn't need the points for other things, so it ended up adding Strip Mine because it is a powerful card, and on its own is good, can win games, can stop games. And Red and 6 at the cost is just pretty much singularly good at what it does. I mean, there's not another card that really replaces it. I mean, Crucible of Worlds and Raminap Excavator don't really have the same effect that Ren and 6 does, on the game. and it can control, and it can do this. But I think Jacky's probably going to be obliged to go on to game number 2 here relatively shortly. I don't have hands at this point, but
Yeah,
his
no,
opponent
but nobody
Lucas,
does. I'm sorry. This is
no problem. But like just looking at raw resources, Jacky's down on cards, down on mana, down on board. So he's basically behind in almost every meaningful resource in the game. Although this is a very powerful card here, Monastery Venture. With one card, it's not likely to pop off, but it could. Lucas' deck also plays a lot of removal options too, more than you'd think. It's got cards like Fiery Temper. Probably Punishing Fire would be my. I bet Punishing Fire is probably in this deck. Just looking at how he's got the lands package in there, I would assume he probably runs it. And then more traditional, like just black and red removal, like the best ofs, to include like Fatal Push, Lightning Bolt, possibly Chain Lightning, Flame Slash, maybe Fork Bolt. Maybe not. Some of those are a little like B-tier removal, but the first couple are definitely A-tier removal that I make a pretty blithe, but I think pretty good assumption that he's running. Well, we're in the tank here about this Monastery Venture. I'm not sure what the decision point was on it. I don't think he's probably running Withering Boon, so it's not going to get countered. All right, well, there's hand number 1. He was debating on... Oh, okay. Well, that's a big boy right there. It's a large lad in the form of Hogak.
Look at
my
the
guess would
absolute
be
size of this lad.
he's a big guy. My guess would be he's probably considering using Avacyn's Judgment here, or trying to set up Avacyn's Judgment. He needs a discard outlet for it, though. Well, there is, again, like another removal spell. It's very clunky, but it, I don't know that card's name off the top of my head. Dark something? Dark Withering? I can't see the card's name, but basically what it is 6 mana, kill anything spell that has Madness 1 black. I'm sorry, Madness black. Just black mana.
Yeah, it's Dark Withering, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, something along those lines. I mean, like, a lot of these cards are ones that, like, I don't need to read to know what they do, but I don't remember their names. I don't play with them enough. I don't think many people do play with them. It's got some pretty cool cards in it. The other one's a Grave Scrabbler, which is a Grave Crawler with Madness for a cheaper cost. So we get Avacyn's Judgment here. And does his opponent have Spell Snare as their last card? No. All right. Well, Jackie is very tenacious. I think I would pack it in here if I were in their shoes, but...
I mean, your opponent is also on a deck that you don't necessarily know what it is, so you might want to...
Just see more?
Just see
Fair
more
enough.
of what's going on, yeah.
Just get the information. I can get behind that. But the thing is, his opponent doesn't really need to extend any further. His opponent can just beat him to death with this 3/3
And
strip line
the
of
game's
return.
over.
Yeah, I mean, like, you're not really going to... Your opponent doesn't have to give you more information at this point. So, I mean, I guess they could, but they probably won't. I mean, I don't think I would. I would just strip mine you every turn and beat you to death with a 3/3 in 2 turns or 3 turns, whatever it is here. Alrighty, on to game 2. Yeah, if you're new, if you're just looking at this format, strip mine's a card, and lands decks are some pretty strong decks. I would say that, well, that can be off-putting to some folks if they're trying to get into a format. This is also a matchup where that sort of attrition is really amplified. It's really at its strongest. Blue-white does not have a great way of dealing with that outside of, like, Force of Negationing, or Force of Willing the Ren and 6 or the Life of the Loam that allows the strip mine to continually come back. And it's not a fast deck either. U-white's not. So... if you get into that kind of grindy position where, like, you don't have a threat and you're just trying to trade 1-for-1 resources until you can acquire fast card advantage through cards like Recall or Sphinx's Rev, whatever, it's not something you're probably going to beat. So it definitely shines here when you have kind of draws like that.
I guess you would Spell Pierce the Ren and 6 if you hadn't tapped out, but...
Spell Snare, Spell Pierce, I mean, like, the engine cards that enable that combination...
But, like, Spell Pierce is... I don't like playing that card in control at all.
Oh, I just 100% disagree with you. I play that in almost every blue control deck and/or mid-range deck that runs counter spells that I play. I love Spell Pierce, but difference of opinion on it. I just think I think it depends on the metagame you're playing in, like how much counter magic you want to run. But like that card has just always punched up so hard for me. You know, but just a different take on it. I think if you're playing against like top tier combo decks, like you kind of want and need those very efficient answers so you can multi counterspell in a turn when they try to go off. And even in like against mid range, there's so many planeswalkers now. Like Spell Pierce's value, honestly, in my opinion, just keeps going up. Is it bad in the aggro matchups? Yeah, but like in general, you're not beating probably medium red with blue white all that often. You can if you're more board based, but I think I think Pierce, Snare are just great. See a tap land here. I'm not sure what I really think of this hand on Luca's side. I mean, the thing is, it's got a DAC and it's got a Wharf Infiltrator, so it could really become anything. Is probably the rationale. Liliana is probably the power card in this matchup. Like Liliana and DAC are the power cards in the matchup. But speaking of power cards, there we have a one-pointed card, Stoneforge Mystic, likely fetching a Batter Skull. Yeah, that would be my guess. I don't make the
Jackie
assumption.
had sent me the wrong email in the sign up, so now we should be able to fix that, and now we should have end for him or her as well.
Well, we at least know that of the 6 cards that they have in hand, one of them is a Batter Skull, which makes good sense. We play the Wasteland here. I don't know why though. Because, it was probably a player. You want to be able to cast the Wharf Infiltrator more than likely this turn. The Wasteland does not allow that.
Wharf Infiltrator.
Yeah,
This deck plays some amazing cards. Every time I watch, I'm in awe.
I mean, Wharf Infiltrator is not horrible. I mean, it's 2 mana for a 1/1 that dies to everything. It's tough to block. I mean, although it gets blocked pretty well by Stoneforge. Yeah. I think what he's hoping to do here is, like, get this... Like, I would try to force the action with the Liliana more than likely.
Enlightened Tutor? That's interesting.
Yeah, it could be comboing. That's a possibility. I think you try to force the action here with this Liliana, the Last Hope, because you really want the DAC to resolve, and ideally steal your opponent's Batter Skull if you can get them tapping low. That's probably the best of situations.
Yeah,
like,
Enlightened Tutor, not one that you see often in blue control lists. So, what do you think? What do you think's going on there?
No, I think it's fine. I think there's a lot of versions of blue-white, and I think of those versions, there's a very good Enlightened Tutor variant that uses enchantments to either control via lockout, back to basics, via moat, stuff like that, humility, or gets combo components. There are actually some really good combo enchantments that you can build into like a combo control shell for blue-white. The issue you run into with that style of deck is that it has more dead cards than like standard blue-white, which is already.
So you think he might be doing something like trying to set up like Rest in Peace plus Force plus Energy Field or something like that?
Yeah, it could be, or it could be like a Savine's Reclamation deck. I don't know his points if he's on like gifts, but if you're on like Savine's Reclamation, you can use that 2-card combo, or you can use is it not Solemnity, and
Oh, you think he's gonna go Solemnity, Decree of Silence?
Well, you can do Decree of Silence, Solemnity, or you can do Phyrexian Unlife.
Oh, you're thinking of the non-spicy one. Okay, yeah, okay,
Well,
that's more reasonable.
I've used all of them. I've actually used Decree of Silence to lock people out with that style.
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna Academy Rector it out, that's actually not unreasonable.
Yeah, no, you have that, and like you also have Savine's Reclamation, which is actually kind of it's more powerful than you'd think in that style of deck. The problem again is like you just have a lot of dead cards when you're playing like that. So my guess would be he's probably somewhere in the middle. I mean, that deck is really good as a meta call against like mid-range to mid-range aggressive decks, like the medium decks. Like medium decks don't really do much against those kind of combos. It's like, all right, I lose.
His points seem to be kind of all over the place. I'm trying to piece together, and I'm also trying to verify that. So Jackie's playing GT.
Okay, so he's more of a tempo
Nemesis.
He may be more tempo oriented. It looks like he's controlled.
So it might be more like a kind of like a Stoneblade style deck, honestly, even.
Sure. More mid-rangey. This is a big play here. So like one of the things I was talking about before is that you can hope to get this DAC down after getting the Liliana countered. And steal this Batter Skull, which is huge. The problem is the deck's still going to die, but you own the Batter Skull at that point, so his opponent can't return it. And you could equip it to like your Merfolk Looter over time. I think I like making that line. He's still going to get attacked for 4. This deck will still die, but it removes the relevant threat that his opponent has on board right now
Yeah, so
in a long game. So I think I like doing that, even though, like, you're not, just so folks don't know, you're not going to get the germ token with the Batter Skull. His opponent will still have it. But I still think that's a great line, because now they can't return it, and now whenever you're able to deal with it or play a creature and equip it, then the germ token dies as a 0/0. And right now, there's not really like a ton going on Jacky's side. I mean, although he does have Enlightened Tutor and a Brainstorm for whatever he wants to find, so there is that. We may see some Merfolk Looters and some Wharf Infiltrators not drawing cards, but attacking with a Batter Skull equipped, because they're not very good against.
It happens.
They're not very good against Narset. Narset kind of does some good work against, like, stuff
looting when Narset is in play, not the greatest. Although Lucas' deck is kind of interested in just discarding cards sometimes, so maybe that's still a thing if you want to.
I think looking at his build, like, yeah, sure. I mean, like, you can get some, like, immediate value off of just discarding, like some efficiency, but you're not really.
No, I'm not saying that he wants to do that like all the time, but I could see that being a thing that can come up.
It could, yeah, but it's diminishing returns, right? Like, you need to keep on replenishing them.
Yeah, for sure. Agreed.
Yeah. All right. Well, there's an arch of his content. All right. So
what does Wharf Infiltrator even do?
Wharf Infiltrator is a 2-mana 1/1 for blue and a 1 Skulk, and whenever it attacks, if it hits, you can pay 2 mana and make a 3/2 Eldrazi Whore, which I believe is colorless or has devoid.
I was just surreptitiously putting the Wharf Infiltrator on screen.
By discarding a creature. You have to discard a creature to do that. Sorry, I didn't specify that. There we go. It's a cool card. It's fringe playable. It's not great, but it's not great like widely. It's good in this deck.
Yeah.
I don't even think it's that great in like Reanimator. I'm not a fan in Reanimator. I've tried it.
No, it feels like you can do better. Is just the thing. Like
it just
for the scope of things that the Reanimator deck is trying to do, getting a 3/2 colorless Eldrazi Horror token isn't necessarily.
Well, it's more about getting the Gristlebrand out of your hand. You know, I mean, you can also get value if you want, but it's really the problem.
But then you might as well play like a Merfolk Looter, right? That like is able to get the Gristlebrand out of your hand this turn and the Iona out of your hand next turn.
Sure. I mean, it just depends if your opponent's got Mana Dorks or not. I mean, if they have Mana Dorks, they'll just probably block this idiot.
Yeah.
No, they could block it if they wanted to. Okay, so we see the Looter come down first. Are we going to see... I think I would be inclined to play the Smuggler's Copter out this turn. But apparently that's not something he's... I mean, you get Force Spiked here, but like I feel like I'm fine getting Force Spiked. It just gets it out of the hand. I mean, and it also keeps my opponent playing...
Does Luca know that the Force Spike is in Jacky's hand?
No, but like my thing is this, like I would kind of assume if I'm in Luca's spot, like they've got a counterspell of some sort, you know. And,
well,
like,
I mean, yes, but also like you can play around Force Spike, right? Like the type of counterspell that is in hand different, because like if they have like I don't know, a Force Spike, you can play around it. Like you don't need to play into Force Spike or Daze if you can just strand those cards in your opponent's hand. Whereas a card like Mana Leak, well, Mana Leak is gonna trade for something.
Yeah, well, my biggest thing is this, like, you know, there's an argument to, like, if you knew, even if I knew they had Force Spike, I would also know they had Enlightened Tutor at that point. I honestly think I'm fine just trading off the card so they're not casting Enlightened Tutor on my EOT. I think that tempo swing's pretty big. I think that's kind of like the avenue you want to attack the game on, because right now you're the proud owner of a Batter Skull, which is locked up to a creature you don't own. And at least on board, your opponent doesn't have anything going on. Now, they have a Torrential Gearhulk, so the game's probably over now, but, you know, that's what it is. What did Jacky Enlightened Tutor for there? I wonder. We'll see momentarily. It's fine.
Oh, yeah. Well, I guess as Jacky hasn't drawn the card yet.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe Gearhulk.
Oh, Gearhulk was the card. Okay, makes sense.
No, I don't know, but like that
makes sense.
Like a pretty likely target.
Yeah, there's Gearhulk. So the Merfolk Looter can loot on the opposing turn, on Jacky's turn, because the way Narset's worded, it's each player can only draw up to one card a turn. Yeah. So the Merfolk Looter was the correct first sequence if you wanted to have one resolve the last turn, so that ostensibly you're able to find a land and lock up I don't know, the Warp Infiltrator or the probably the Warp Infiltrator.
How
It's
far
not going
away
to
is
trade.
Luca from being able to firestorm away Jackie's board?
Well, there's not enough targets right now, right? So like, well, actually there are, but he would need 2 more cards to do that. So your targets have to be Narset, Jackie himself, and then all 4 creatures, or ostensibly you can target yourself and Jackie for 6 and 6. That's a lot of cards to discard, though.
Yeah, no, agreed, but, you know... I guess they can Dark Withering the Gearhulk too.
Yeah, they could. This JIT is pretty bad, though.
Look, it's not great.
I think what happens here, I think what I would end up doing is I would Firestorm the Narset for 1. Discarding the Withering, whatever. You're actually, I mean, you can do it, but you're going to get Force Spiked here. But I think you're almost obliged to Firestorm, killing Narset, pitch the Withering,
Firestorm
whatever.
is an instant.
Yeah. It's an instant. Pitch the Madness card. Try to kill the Hulk. I may wait until I would wait till combat. You gotta wait till begin combat so they can't re-equip the JIT. Yeah, you want to wait here. Wait until begin combat. Oh, because you don't want the JIT to get re-equipped. You want to just okay. Well, we're not gonna wait, but that's okay. Yeah, I think this might be a Gafe. I think you want to wait till the beginning of combat. That way, they're obliged to either do nothing or... I mean, you're still going to get Force Spiked either way, so it doesn't matter. I think the right line is to wait till begin combat or the attack step, so that you can not allow them... You don't allow them to re-equip the JIT.
Yeah.
Germ Tokens, if he finds a land off of this this look with the Merfolk Looter, is one of these 2 things going to get equipped. But now, both things are going to die because the JIT will hit them both, ostensibly, right? So Force Spike happens regardless. So like what I'm talking about is not relevant due to the holdings of both players, but assessing it, like you have to assess it, as they could given the information they've got. I think that's the way I would try to go with my line if I were in Lucas' shoes here.
Have we decided that JIT is the correct pronunciation for that card?
I don't know. You guys can tell me I'm wrong however you want. I don't know. How do I say it? Do I say JIT?
I say
JIT.
I usually pronounce it JIT, but I've heard everything. It's
yeah, I don't get that up in arms about it. If someone does, they can tell me, and I'll try to stop, but I'll probably forget. We could just call it what it is. Busted. I mean,
people often call it the fork.
Yeah, I don't know why we discarded our whole hand here. We just needed to do 1 damage to Narset, so you really could have saved some of those cards. But I think at this point, if I'm in Lucas' shoes, I mean, he did opt to do that. I would concede here. I'm pretty good to go. I'm under and over it if I'm in his shoes. Narset shockingly is very good against this deck.
Yeah. So Freddy, Barrier Skull will go to Jackie's hand if Luca bounces it. So Luca would probably not bounce it.
Yeah. I mean, you could and save you a turn, I guess. I mean, maybe you have to eventually.
Yeah, you might.
And actually, here you probably do go for that line. You're going to get blown out by the Brazen Borrower either way. But, you probably go for that line just to get it knocked off the table so you can draw 3 cards. Actually, never mind. Monty's Ravager doesn't work because of Narset. So, this is just...
We're hearing demonic noises coming from a player. I think it's some of them. One of them has... I'm gonna... if you're not muted in the Hangouts call, could you mute yourself in the Hangouts call? Because I'm hearing some shuffling around. Thank you.
Yeah, so I honestly think you leave it petty theft this. I think you just leave it in play. I mean,
hey, Luca, if you're not muted in this call, could you mute yourself in this call? Because I can't. I hear shuffling around, and I don't know if that's you. Thank you very much. We have another results from the back tables. We have Wolfgang wins 2-1 versus Para.
Okay.
So that's exciting. We had Reiyu 1-1 versus Niklas 2.
Okay. What is Wolfgang on today? Is he on a medium red deck or a red variety deck?
Let me double check. I don't know if he has had, because it was kind of like a last minute thing, right? So I don't know if he has time to give me to submit a thing, but Yeah, I don't have his deck list, sadly.
Okay. We may eventually see it. I think Wolfgang's a good player. I think he's probably playing a good red deck. I think red is very well situated in the in this
Yeah,
these events.
based on the Arakasi takes all past schemes, yeah, apparently Red's
Yeah,
how we
and,
did it.
and no, and that's not a knock on Arakasi. He's a good player, but like the deck
no,
is
no,
not.
I wasn't trying to knock
the
on
deck's not that
Arakasi.
good.
But his
the
deck is
not
like,
that good,
decks have
you know?
weaknesses.
Yeah, decks have weaknesses. He's just not seeing it. And like that's what I'm trying to say is like the deck's not like that good. It's a fine deck, but it doesn't beat red or like white super aggro decks or like black super aggro decks. Like, it just doesn't beat curve out, which is not a bad place to be if it's non-existent, It's very good and it's a smart place to be. I don't like this hand Luke has got. Maybe it gets better. I mean, I guess it recuperates the loss of a card off of Careful Study with Squee, which you will most certainly discard.
Yeah, I mean, when that's actually one of...
Maybe there's not enough payoff in the deck. It doesn't mulligan well, maybe. Thinking about it, because you have so many cards that like are dependent upon other cards that like you really need a density of cards to like get going. I don't know. I don't play Madness. I have played Dredge in this format a decent bit, which kind of plays out similar to it. Basically, is Dredge plus Madness plus a bunch of other like gobbledygook, creature kind of combo survival stuff, which tends to be the case. Like you're very dependent upon having a lot of card resource, a lot of access to different cards, which means very high card velocity, generally low card economy, and high efficiency in your cards. You just go through them really fast, and like they're all kind of very chippy, not really that powerful.
We have a
like,
Graves Scrabbler is the main P-hub from this thing.
Yeah, there's just not enough good stuff in the yard yet. So, we'll see. We'll see. I just think, not that he knows what like Jackie's on over there, but Jackie's got a pretty good hand. I mean, he's got a turn 2 counter spell, and doesn't like this deck. This deck is going to get pressure down, despite having the Mox draw by turn 2 to fade that. So, the true name is going to become kind of a reality here. That is an Archmage's Charm. I can only see part of it in the hand, but that is a counter spell, a draw 2, or a steal a 1 or less CMC permanent that does not land. So I could steal a Mox.
The last, do you know what the last thing I have stolen with Archmage's Charm is?
I don't know. Like the best thing, generally the highest upside one that people talk about the most is Merit Lage, which is doable.
Okay, it wasn't quite that bad. But it was a large flyer. I got to steal a 4/4 Bird Illusion token made by Muyangling.
Yeah.
That was I felt pretty good about that. And then I played my own Muyangling.
No, Archmage's Charm is one of those cards that, like, in blue heavy.
You need to be able to support it. But if you can support it, the card's excellent. I was really excited to get to add that card to my Blue Moon deck because it's very imbalanced towards blue.
Yeah, and being able to steal something that is 1 or less mana is very powerful.
Like it's the mod that comes up the least often, but when it comes up, oh boy.
It's the most value off the card. It's how you generally blow people out the most with the card. And I think, honestly, it's possibly, like, the most important part of that card. Because my opinion on Archmage's Charm is that the other 2 pieces of it are pretty replaceable in the decks that are going to run it. They're fairly replaceable with other cards.
It's nice to have the option to do either, right? Like, you'd run a card that is blue, divination counter spell split card. But the last mod does add a lot of power to the card, for sure.
Exactly. Like, you have that up. It makes it worth running a 3 blue mana cost card and generally a 2-color deck.
Yeah.
All right, so this is, I guess you just jam the Scrabbler and try to attack with it. It's not going to be great.
Just 4 mana 2/2, let's go.
Yeah, I don't think I would condescend this. I think I would probably let it resolve. Maybe not. Although, actually, you have to condescend this. You have to condescend it because he has a Liliana in play. How did he get a Liliana in play?
That's a...
Oh, I guess he drew it. He drew it, okay. So we've been talking about Archmage's Charm. He drew into a Liliana the Veil, which I didn't fail to comment on. That's actually a Haymaker. That's going to be really good.
I missed the Liliana happening. I'm surprised. Does Grave Scrabbler only host 1 to Madness? Was that his turn?
Was what discarded to Madness? Does
Grave Scrabbler only cost 1 to Madness?
I thought it was black and 2.
Oh no, we have it on screen. It's 2, yeah.
Yeah, black and 1. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how Like, if you discard it to
I mean,
the Liliana. Like, why didn't
it
he
was-
discard it to Liliana? I guess he didn't discard the Squee.
I don't think he cares if it gets countered.
I mean,
Yeah,
it
he
still
doesn't
can get countered if you discard it to Liliana, because that's how Madness works, but I was wondering why he didn't he cast it for 4 instead of for 2.
Well, and the other thing is too, he actually would have been countered. It would not have been countered there. I don't know. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, Lucas is kind of like a lot is riding on this Liliana because Lucas's hand is
Yeah, and Brazen
kind of-
Borrower Brazen Borrower, I think, is going to get Liliana because Brazen Borrower can bounce Liliana, and if his opponent Luca is hellbent, Jackie's just going to get rid of that Liliana that way, which is going to be pretty savage. Not going to lie. Probably play out the Prismatic Vista, and I think
I've
here
had
I
that
would
happen to me. I'm not gonna lie.
I think it's going to happen. I
Yeah.
think we're going to see that happen. There's a strong draw off of the draw 2 on Archmage's Charm. I don't like bouncing it here. I like waiting. I'm that greedy, though. I don't think you need the 2 islands. I think you just need one of them. All right, so Liliana goes back to hand, which I don't really care for this way. I think maybe I'm too greedy. I would wait.
No, I
would
would
wait
also
on it.
have waited and tried to make it so that you can
Yeah.
kill the Liliana with its own activation. Because Zoha is really priced into... Oh, but
Yeah.
Luca probably won't... Like, Luca won't play the cards beforehand, right? Luca would probably plan to discard the Squee to Liliana, so that play doesn't work. You bounce the Liliana, the Squee
That's-
still gets discarded.
That's correct, but, if he plays it correctly. But the other thing is, too, like, you still have a 3-1 down at that point, right? Or you have access to a flash 3-1, which still pressures the heck out of Liliana when your opponent's down on many card resources. So, yeah,
The most sad thoughts is of all time here for...
yeah, but I wouldn't think of it as being a bad draw here if I were in Luca's shoes. Now, when I see
Oh,
my
no.
opponent's...
I think I
I'd be like,
agree.
oh,
I think
score.
I'm pretty happy
Yeah.
to have these thoughts, but it's...
And I'd be like, oh, okay. Well, I'd still feel okay. I'd be like, oh, okay, well, they got 2 islands. So, I mean, it's kind of anyone's game. This Brazen Borrower is a pain in the ass. But, what are you going to do? And it's not like the Weather Wayfarer can get value yet. I think, honestly, here I would probably just chip apart their hand because the Weather Wayfarer is not active. And if they want to spend their time, knocking apart the... maybe not. Either way, the Liliana is going to get eaten by this Brazen Borrower because it's going to be too low a loyalty to deal with the Brazen Borrower and stick around. So I could see just discarding a card out of hand to keep their mana resources down because mana resources are fairly important to blue-white decks.
Yeah.
I.e., if they want to tap out for this Brazen Borrower, it comes at a cost if they draw a counter spell.
Yeah,
something like that.
definitely, like... For a deck like that, the 4th, 5th lands are real cards. Like,
Oh,
for
I'm like up to my 7th land. On Blue Moon, like I'm like 7th land, cool. Like I
yeah.
can triple.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm the same. But like,
Yeah.
I just want to hit in my land drops. If you're playing an aggro deck, sometimes you draw your 5th land. You're like, this is basically a blank. It's not gonna do anything. But in an aggro control deck, you just want to keep developing your resources. You'll take land number 7. You'll take land number 6. You'll definitely take land number 5. And discarding the 5th land is a downside for Jackie there.
Yep. So counterbalance.
Counterbalance actually probably not great in this matchup because a lot of Lucas's cards actually have a kind of artificially high mana costs. Because they have cheap madness
hot
costs.
Hot take. Counterbalance is just not that great in this format.
I mean,
Now-
I agree with that.
I think it's a great card, and I think in more homogenous formats that tend to embrace more efficiency or have less range of CMCs, it's great. Like it was obviously great. It got another card banned, which was banned for other reasons, or many reasons. But I just don't think it really hits on. It doesn't do what it did in Legacy.
No, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's even particularly controversial. I do agree with that. Angel's Ravager is a hell of a magic card.
What's that? Anjay's Ravager? Yeah.
Yeah,
I think so.
we're about to see Angel's Ravager spring to action here.
Okay, so the Liliana is going to get knocked down to 2. That was a good draw, but again, not enough lands, right? Not enough mana for Mystic Confluence. So this Liliana has done significant work. My assumption is that I don't know. Do you tick it up here? Like I'm tempted to tick up the Lily, but you probably just make him sack. I guess you can attack first. You can go to your 4th land, so playing the land's not a big deal. So you're going to discard your hand anyways to Anjay's Ravager. Unless you're going to hope for a better land.
Nah, you just play the hand.
I
I'm
think
on.
I think you attack first and just see what happens, and then choose how you want to use the Liliana, because you may be able to deal with the stuff on the board. It's not like
Yeah,
blocking
I mean,
is that
the
profitable.
downside to do that is that then you can get the Liliana activation out of the way before you are you're forced to discard, right? But...
Yeah, but I don't think you care about discarding. Like I think
oh
honestly,
yeah,
it's worth,
I think you want to discard, for example,
I think
this
it's worth.
Bloodbath Vampire.
Yeah, it's worth the information. I think is my point. Just get the information. It's free.
I've had that card recently resolve against me in a tournament, Bloodbath Vampire.
Yeah, it's a big thing that can be cast at flash speed if you have,
It was not a Canadian Highlander tournament, it was a Pauper tournament, but
there's Pauper staples that are playing this format. Flame Rift. There's a significant number of cards. I mean, hell, I think Mana Leak, like Counterspell, like there's a lot of cards that have been put in common that are just bonkers.
Yeah.
In
my case, in the deck that I'm playing, the weirdest counterspell that I'm playing is Devious Cover Up, because that's actually my win condition, which possibly.
I saw your deck. Yeah, it's a mill deck. Yeah.
Yeah, possibly not. Should lead me to reconsider some of the decisions that I have made about my life, but
I mean, you got to play what you enjoy playing, man. I mean, it's a game, obviously, for fun. I mean, I try to commentate as much as I can on like the most efficient lines or the strongest lines possible or the strongest card options possible. But I mean, at the end of the day, Canadian Highlander it's a game, right? I mean, like you're here to have fun, So however you do that is
breakthrough, is 1 mana discard your hand.
Yeah, which is actually really good here.
Yeah, that's actually really good.
There's a Vengevine. We've got, this. So basically, they can cast the vampire, and then can they cast something else? They probably attack with Anjay's Ravager first, because making a creature or having a creature ETB doesn't count as casting it. So like making these 3/2 Eldrazi things.
What is Jackie's out here?
He needs 2 board sweep, but he doesn't have another white.
He does not have double white.
No, I think honestly, like here, you want to leave the land in hand so you can try to get value off the Weathered Wayfarer on your opponent's next turn. It's risky, but like that's your out is getting to double white and then top decking into like a Supreme Verdict or something like that.
Isn't Jackie dead next turn?
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean he's just dead. I mean, like, I don't know if it's next turn, but it's feels pretty inevitable from this.
Oh,
position.
I think Jackie's dead immediately. I think there's 10 points there's 10 points of attacking happening right now.
Being fair, I wouldn't even, if I were in his shoes, I wouldn't bother even doing the math. That's why I don't know, because I don't think it's that relevant. I would just concede. But,
I think it's exactly 10.
That's me. I would just concede. I'd be like, I'm good. Like, you got me.
Oh, here's a Vengevine too. Hi.
Yep, we got a Vengevine this turn, and honestly, I think it's a tougher matchup. I think for Blue.
Oh yeah, Arakasi in chat points out that Terminus could be a thing. We know that that's not.
It could be. Oh, we know it's not an option.
I mean, we know it's not going to happen, but it could be.
Yeah. Could be.
It could
could be a
but
thing.
It won't.
Looking at the build they're on, though, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked if they're on Terminus, but it seems like they're pretty far away from Miracles. It seems like they're more tempo, mid-range oriented.
No,
as
they're
opposed
on
to
Terminus. I think I checked that.
Oh, are they? Okay. Well, it's odd to see like True Name Nemesis with a Terminus spread.
Oh, I agree with you, but
you know what I mean? Like that's just if I were a guessing person, I'd see their deck. I was playing the other side. That's what I would not per se expect it. It could be a possibility, but I wouldn't play too heavily around it.
Was the last match.
Sweet. Well, yeah. I mean, control is going to generally go longer. Good games to everyone. That was definitely a cool one to watch. Really cool to see the 4-color Madness deck get to do its thing. It's not really a common archetype in the format, but again, it kind of goes to show the very broad range of what is viable in the format. Is it a tier 1 deck? No, absolutely not. But it can definitely give some tier 1 decks a big run for their money because they are designed or set up to attack along a specific axis of which that deck kind of just bypasses by generating value in a non-traditional way. So very cool to get to see that.
On top of also like this might be biased, but it just looks really cool when it does things. I'm not going to.
Yeah, no, I mean, no, thinking something's cool is 100% fine. We're all humans, right? So I mean, we all think different things are cool and great, and like, I mean, I tend to be more of like a scientist about it. I mean, I've just played so much Magic that like nothing really shocks me. It's very rare that it does. Like I can tell you, like Bridge, the modern Bridge deck, not Bridge, what is it? Lantern deck. That one is one that like kind of like perked me up, and I played it a bunch just to. I don't even like modern, but I played that bunch because it was a
That
cool
one
deck
took
and it was
everybody by
interesting.
surprise, I think. Like
Yeah, 'cause
when
it's
it
just a bunch of
happened, it
dumpster-
just came out of nowhere.
Yeah, well, it's a bunch of dumpster cards, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I want to play this because it reminded me of like old school Millstone Field of Dreams combo decks, like control decks. That's what it reminded me of, which is like that's the beginnings of Magic. And I was like, I want to play that, and I played it and did decently well with it. It was a fun deck to play. For me, I mean, I'm sure for some people they were like, this is cancer, but like we all have our predilections. Like for me, it's like I like to see new stuff. I like to see interesting stuff. And if I'm not going to see interesting or new stuff, I want to make a lot of decisions and play against players that are very good and challenge me and all that. You have a bunch of that. You have a lot of good Magic players, a lot of smart folks that play the format, and you get to have some good games against.
Let's figure out what Wolfgang is on. Let's watch the Arakasi versus Wolfgang game for round 2.
I think we're gonna see. I'm gonna make a prediction here. Arakasi,
like the other option is Luca versus Reiyu, and
watch Tempo v what I assume is aggro.
Yeah, I mean the other option is Luca versus Reiyu, and we just watch Luca. Is just my main reason. So
yeah, let's do that, and then like I think we're gonna get probably 2 games of Magic for the viewers out there because I think the matchup is going to probably go one way relatively fast, I would think. Not that like Arakasi can't win, but if he does, I think he's going to have to do it pretty decidedly early and reduce resources on the opposing side. And if it goes WolfgangCloud's way, it's going to be probably a 4 to 5 turn game. So it's one way or the other. But yeah, basically, I think for Arakasi, just knowing that deck pretty well, he's going to have to very aggressively trade resources, get some good 2-for-1s off like Hymns of Turix, stuff like that. Have a good fast mana start and get down an early 4-4 or 6-6 or whatever. But again, I'm also making an assumption on what WolfgangCloud is playing. I may jump in there and he may be on like I don't know.
We don't have
Blue-green
Wolfgang lists.
Blue-green
Oh, we have
Tempo,
Gosmith back. Hi, Gosmith.
I don't know if he has us muted or not.
I don't even see it.
I do, but
I think he's just waiting to see how long we think before we know it.
I'm gonna jump off real quick, Remage. Just quick little break. I'll be right back. All right, man.
Take your time.
All right, man.
Hi, Gosmith. Nice to have you back.
He came in and then he left again. He's not in the call at the moment.
But I see his webcam.
On my end, I don't see him.
I mean, he's on Hangouts. I think at Discord he's having issues. It's fine. We'll figure this out eventually. Let me just actually do this. No, I think I know how to fix this. Okay, why don't you unmute yourself in Hangouts and then I can hear you. And then the people, the Discord people can't hear you, but if Lumen comes back, we're gonna have to figure out how to coordinate. But for now, we're good. So let's. I think so I can hear Gosmith, you guys cannot, I believe. Because I can hear him through Google Hangouts.
God.
By which I mean I might not be able to hear him through Google Hangouts. Can you say something?
Hi, I'm on Discord now.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah, we can hear him through Discord now.
Oh, you're echoing on my end.
Lovely.
God, that was a fucking mess. I restarted the router, I restarted my computer because that, for some reason, seemed to be the problem.
Well, I'm glad that we have you back. I have hand cams for one of the players. I don't have hand cams before.
Yes, you may need to call me.
I thought it did.
Nope.
Have I called the wrong person?
Oh, maybe? Okay, I didn't see it, sorry.
Oh, no, I have called you, okay.
Shit.
So who's the feature match?
So we're watching Arakasi versus Wolfgang.
I just gotta figure out how to meet you. Hang on.
You know, the interesting thing about those like madness decks is that if you just told me like a couple of months ago before I saw Lucas' deck that it was the thing, I've been like, yeah, like tier 5, right? But I'm seeing him playing it, and I'm like, just keeps winning more than I expect. Honestly, it's proving to be. I think with the last like commander set giving even more support to the madness theme, like with Andrew's Ravager, I think we just saw in that last game.
Red Mage,
really?
can you make sure you're muted on the call?
I am sorry, I forgot to do that. I will take care of it presently.
Okay.
Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm back. You're talking about Anjay's Ravager
Yeah.
and how it's pretty much good in like a lot of other decks, other
Yeah,
than just
yeah,
the madness deck, like medium red or like
Yeah.
maybe red deck wins. I like it better in medium
I
red.
am
But
on the edge for it. It is like one of the few cards recently I've considered putting on in the free slot.
for red deck wins or medium red.
Red deck. It's definitely I'd say in medium red, but I think it's on the edge in red deck wins.
Does it have? Is it a Crypt Soul Ring deck or is it a Black Lotus?
Like Lotus.
So more on the red deck wins end of the spectrum.
Yes, absolutely.
I can see it. Yeah, I can see it. It depends on how you want to build it too. I mean, you can like build like just turbo red deck wins, like just bazillion 1-drops. About 3/4 of the amount of 2-drops, and then about like a third of the 1-drops total quantity in 3-drops, and like 1 4-drop maybe. Like there's just so many builds of it, that you can go with.
Oh, naturally, yeah, absolutely. I think the philosophy I've gone for is that if it's a free drop, it has to be able to win the game on its own. Which absolutely Andrew's Ravager can, but it is also a lot more
requires an untap, right?
Die. Yeah, it requires an untap, which a lot of other guys just don't.
Yeah, no, that's one of the highest bars for me looking at it is
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's right or wrong. I mean, it could be.
Yep, that looks like mono red, all right.
Yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Checks out. Especially if he's on short term jumping in. I mean, I'm assuming he probably didn't put together, like Hot Tub Time Machine or something like that. Jump in. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna put this thing together.
Okay, what is Hot Tub Time Machine? I've heard this name a few times.
Well, it's kind of a meme. It's a joke name for a deck. It's a deck that actually I made and then handed off to Ben, and he put some time into it. What it is a 5-color lands deck that wins.
Landstorm.
Yeah, it's a Landstorm deck basically. It doesn't use any storm mechanic cards, but it wins through recursing Mystic Confluence or Mystic Sanctuary infinitely many times, and draw lands infinitely many times to continue to draw a win condition, which would be Lightning Bolt, whatever. Time Walk, whatever. Basically anything. It also has the Ephemerate Seeker combo. It's basically just a deck that really it's one that really I enjoy playing because it almost defies being archetyped. It can play as a mid-range deck, it can play as a control deck, it can play as a combo deck. So it offers a ton of What's that? Can't play aggro, no. It doesn't do that. It doesn't do that. But it's very the cool thing that I enjoy about it is it's a very modal build. You can really change out 10 to 12 cards in that deck and put in counter magic if you want to against certain metagames. You can build it how I think I posted it, which is more mid-rangey, basically more open, more matchup neutral. A lot of stuff you can do with it. It's an interesting deck. It's hard to kind of describe it without showing gameplay of it or showing the deck itself because it's a little bit convoluted too, being fair.
Yeah. What we're mostly just seeing here is just Arakasi just answering thread upon thread upon thread.
Yeah, and then playing a card that... Liliana is not what you generally want to see. Yeah, I mean, that's...
admittedly...
Especially...
Wolfgang is on a counterspell hand, not a counterspell burn hand. So... He's got that
Yeah,
going
I
for
mean,
him,
if we
so
count it up, what we got 4, 6,
9.
10.
9
13.
without the stoke. Yeah, 13 with the stoke. Yeah.
Yeah.
And 1 to some random dude.
Well, the random dude's
yeah.
actually relevant for the stoke, right? It's not going to attack because
No, like the arc trail. I was thinking can
Ah,
ping the
yeah.
armor for 1 just to slow her down that turn.
Certainly, yeah. I was thinking like actually that I kind of like the Zergo here because it's a land drop for stoke.
It is in a way.
He's gonna get rid of it.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah, just kill off the armor.
He wants to build equity in the Zergo, I suppose, in any future creature draws he makes, which isn't like unreasonable. I like casting the Night's Whisper first. Okay, interesting. If you're gonna cast it. All right, well, there's a card you cannot cast. And now the Git Probe does cost life. That life is not irrelevant on both these cards. This is one of the challenges that I think, yeah. I mean, like, I don't think Arakasi's in a horrible spot, but...
It's a card that I've actually, interestingly, I consider playing Specter Probe in mono red. Just because
it's... information.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And you're the one who's like, you're fine with sacrificing your life in return for their...
Yeah, no, the only deck that's going to be faster than you is probably, like, you know, Storm.
Yeah.
Maybe.
If you're getting... And if they're trying to race, yeah, absolutely. And if they're not trying to race you, well, then hopefully your life total shouldn't matter. And at the point where it starts mattering, you're likely losing anyways.
No, your life is irrelevant versus Storm. Like, I'll tell you right now, it doesn't matter that much. It doesn't matter that much. But... So he bottomed both those cards because they weren't a land. I think what Arakasi wanted to find is a land on top, at least one land on top, so that he could wasteland safely on the following turn to kind of cut into the tempo gains that Wolfgang, you know, he's gonna get this turn. Okay, we're casting it with dash. Okay. Well, 11 is not 13, and that's a lot of burn in hand. These canopy lands. Great cards.
Absolutely.
Kind of a liability here, but just utterly great cards. Alright, discard the
One
Rankle.
interesting thing is that for a lot of the, especially monocolored decks these days, you will see them running snowlands because primarily, I believe it's Ice Hide Golem?
Ice Hide Golem. Ice Hide Golem, yep.
Para already defeated Pipes 2-0.
That's the thing that can happen. I mean, it's
Super
Academy. If he nut draws, yeah, if he nut draws, like Academy is just one of those decks. I mean, if you have the best draws, you're gonna get them. So we draw the mountain this turn. Another reason to play snow-covered mountains, Scred, pretty big one in red. I don't think that I would highly doubt that Wolfgang's playing Scred, but it's a possibility. My guess would be Ice Hide Golem.
It's rather unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, like you play Scred in like some tempo list. You definitely play it in blue-red control. I tend to. Yep. So Inquisition, getting probably the creature or the Skullcrack. I like the creature. I like taking the recursive source of damage. It also gives Wolfgang some information here. This is a great draw. This card is just going to suck down. I guess you memory lapse it, but it's just going to demand an answer every turn. And this is kind of where red deck wins. Really starts beating up on the tempo deck. Is that like you can counter it, but you can't go one for one forever with it because its cards are just so repetitive and all do the same thing. The only card you can, hope that is just utterly stuck in Wolfgang's hand is going to be this Stoke, but I don't think that's going to last forever. I think here I actually would have memory lapsed. I'm sorry. Yeah. I think I would have memory lapsed that 3/1 haste because I don't want my opponent to draw lands.
Cast, I presume.
Yeah, correct. You can't counter it now. I mean, it's just you can stifle it, but then they're just going to do it again next turn. No, I meant using the memory lapse prior to using counterspell, like memory lapsing.
He is going to block it.
What's that?
He's blocking it, though, it seems.
No, he didn't block it, right? He just took the damage on the 5.
No, he did. I haven't been able to find the match.
But it's trample though. It has trample anyways. It's like Like what are you gonna do?
Gosmith, I invited you. If you want to, I invited you to the hand camp.
Yeah.
So if you
I am
can,
one of them.
Okay, so you can watch the match from there if you.
Yeah, I'm actually on a little bit of a delay because I watched it on the stream, not in the Google Hangouts.
Yeah. No, I'm watching it on the Hangouts, but I was also watching on the stream earlier.
So reanimate again, a little dicey. That puts them dead to anything, I think. I mean, I
Yeah,
guess
it
Zergo
seems so.
puts down to 4, but I also think that like if you're only blocking out 1 damage with rattle chains, you have to be realistic and think like, how am I winning this game? Like you need to get a
Yeah.
clock on him at some point too. So maybe it's just he's like, hey, like I just gotta hope that my opponent doesn't hit the lands they need to 2-spell me. And
Yeah, honestly, I could even
that's
see
that.
an argument for just activating top, but just get in there.
I think I'd wait another
It's
turn.
risky.
I would try to get the memory lapse out of my hand first, because he knows his hand, right? He knows every card inside Wolfgang's hand, and he knows that he can't 2-spell at least right now.
So
All right,
much
this is
choice
dicey. This
going
is
for Strongtrigger instead.
this is going for the gusto, baby. All right. Well, this turns the arc trail on. Yeah, that's it's a card.
Yeah, but I think it was absolutely the correct choice to go for the Strongtrigger Noble there over the.
Yeah, I mean, but do you think you needed to reanimate, or do you think you could have just left up the counterspell and then on the following turn done it to generate options? I don't know. I mean, like now it's. I think you go for you just go for their upkeep with a skull crack, and then the following turn you can just 2-spell them.
I'm surprised that Arc Trade didn't kill both creatures here.
I don't think he's caring about that. I think he recognizes that like if I hit another land drop, I can 2-spell next turn. He's gonna force a counter this turn, so he'll redraw this card right here. But he's gonna skull crack, probably in response to this trigger before the Ancestral Vision comes off. Put him down to 1, and on the following turn say, hey, have a counter spell on reduce mana situation, or I win the game with my Arc Trail, right? So if you kill the creature, like you don't, you could do like 2 and then 1, but like right now you're tying up their mana. You're eating up 2 of their mana. So any 3 mana counter spell is junk. But there's duress, so we hit. And then we got Snapcaster Mage. Yep.
Yeah, though he can't Snapcaster and duress. He can't do both.
Nope. And we know that at a minimum,
you should be able to do Snapcaster counter.
But also
it's
worth mentioning that.
Like take the Arc Trail, have a counter for whatever he draws.
Yeah, like this Doctor Flames is currently uncastable, so he does have a turn of reprieve.
Yep. And nice Snapcaster. Yeah, I mean, he could turn this game. That's certainly a thing that could happen here.
Oh, wait, what did he pay 2 for?
The memory lots, in upkeep.
That was his upkeep. Yeah, correct.
Yeah, that's why I kind of liked Wolfgang's line there. I mean, as it turned out, he's going to keep the land in hand. Interesting. I guess it's not that relevant. I guess price doesn't matter. Everything kills you at this point. Anything that resolves kills you at this point.
Yeah.
So relevant cards, Snare, that Dismember's not relevant. Snare plus Counterspell plus what?
I mean, it could be relevant, right? Because you can find the it means that the haste creature doesn't kill you. Since I'm assuming that that Arakasi's creatures are going to be turning sideways.
Yeah, if they don't tap.
Choice is, do you want to just straight up just slam a Snapcaster here and cast something?
Well, you know the card in their hand, right? You can just duress it.
True.
All right. Well, you definitely go upkeep
here.
here.
If you want to rest, I think I'd rather be casting, I don't know, not memory dance, but the counter spell in that case.
Yeah, I think you just counter spell it.
Yeah, I'm just saying you can do it either way. I mean, like you leave the counter spell because it gives you options on their turn, but you know what they're drawing.
True, but if they draw into a live burn spell, then you can't answer that instead.
Snapcaster plus anything is a win here. So Arakasi gets this first one. Yep, that's game.
No, I don't believe it is to white count. I believe that's only 7 damage.
Yeah, I think it's 7. Yeah, Wolfgang gets another turn.
3 from the.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry. I'm off on the timing. I thought this was main.
The Stormkirk Noble only gets a counter after.
Right.
Force of Will is a good pickup, though. It means it probably ensures that the counter that.
Yeah, I can't see the draw yet. Is the draw?
He has Dismember Force of Will.
Oh. Yep.
Yeah,
well, it depends on what
Yeah, actually, so the shields are down for this turn.
Yeah, Force of Will is not
the electronic tomato can get blocked by Snapcaster Mage.
Force of Will's dead for
electronic tomato.
Yeah, Force of Will's dead for multiple reasons here.
Well, so he can attack with this, then sack it, and then try to hit a burn spell, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what he.
That's his line. I mean, that's his line. Obviously, got to be blocked.
Quick, dismember it.
Yeah, I mean, could do that. Actually, you cannot.
You cannot. No,
it's not castable.
Neither is like I said, neither is Force of Will.
No, that's a miss. All right,
halfway there.
I'm gonna go into game 2. Very close game. I think some of the mana issues in the early game kind of hit Wolfgang pretty hard there.
Absolutely.
This hand looks great on Wolfgang's. I like the hand.
And one thing I think people often underestimate with red deck wins is that you can't keep hand most of the time without a threat.
They are mana hungry. It's mana lean, but mana hungry. The deck is very mana lean, but it's very mana hungry. Like, you want to be two-spelling as soon as you can. Like, well, you play it. I mean, probably infinitely more than I do. But I played it enough to know that, like, your mana is important. That's why Chill is probably the most heinous Hoser card against that deck ever. Like, more so than Circle Protection Red, more so than Warmth, probably more so than Sphere of Law. Chill is probably the worst thing I want to see if I'm sitting on the red deck win side of the table.
I have had one card that's been just horrendous in the right deck, and that is, what's it called? Glacier. It's called something else.
Glacial Chasm?
That's the one, yes, thank you.
Yeah, that one's a beating.
They have to set up for it.
That's also in Hot Tub Time Machine. Yeah, that's yep, that's a great anti-aggro card. That's a real card you can play. Like, Chill is not a real card you can play in this format. It's a sideboard card really only.
We have an interesting choice. He goes with Pyrostatic Pillar over the Copter here, and I completely agree. Copter isn't going to do anything unless he draws the land, or...
I liked it.
Pillar just got fun.
Pillar is a hell of a card. You just want to get it on the field as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Usually.
Arakasi's Hellbent
get
here.
forced.
We're going to trade resources down to... Is he going to try to draw? He's going to draw. He's not going to play the creature. Interesting. I think I would go for the highest. I think I would go for the highest upside play there, but hey.
Say that, but like in this case, that would have been significantly worse.
It would have been worse, but I think it's the better play. I mean, you know, I think in general. I mean, he drew well. He's going to be able to counter this thing.
Searing Blood. That's going to be an efficient answer to just about most things in Arakasi's deck, honestly.
Yeah. A lot of them, yeah.
I think if Wolfgang draws a land, he's probably good to go.
Yeah. I don't think he's in a bad spot whatsoever.
Question is, if he draws a land, does he play it?
I think you just kill this thing.
No,
if
he just kills it now.
Yeah, I would kill it right now. Like, not even.
He like kind of.
Arakasi's already at 12 too. I don't know how that happened, but he's very low on life, comparatively low on life.
Well, I mean, Searing Blood goes a long way to making sure your creature dies, and also you take a bunch.
Yeah.
No, I'm just looking at it. It's like a Metal Misstep's been cast, a Force of Will has been cast, a Knight's Whisper has been cast. So like his own deck does a lot of damage to him. I guess is what I'm getting after.
His mana base as well. If he has to play like the Pain lands, the Shock lands, fetches.
No, it's just that Arakasi has done more damage to himself at this point than Searing Blood even does. He hasn't been hit. He hasn't actually been hit yet.
5? Yeah. 5
Yeah,
damage to himself.
Correct. Yeah, he hasn't even been hit yet by a creature.
Why am I
Now, does this block or is this attack? I mean, I guess you got to win, but I don't know. All right, Mana Leak. It's not a bad draw.
I think it depends on what he draws into, honestly.
Yeah. I mean, if you're on a Wolfgang side, if he finds removal spell, is probably what he wants to find. I mean, because like, I don't think there's a world in which Wolfgang's not paying for this thing, and to find removal will be kind of nice because you could let him pay for it, then kill it, and then he's drawing 2 land right now. So because he missed a land drop, so I think if I had found removal, I would wait till he paid the upkeep or the echo rather, and then try to beat him on efficiency, just on mana production. Yeah, not attacking. Now I think you just pay it here and trade off. I mean, Arakasi said, "Hey, I want to trade." Yeah, I want to trade.
If he does draw a threat, that is going to be really land, rather.
That was still a good draw. Yeah, that was still a good draw. Cause it's going to force the hand on Mana Leak, which I think is fine. You want to just be trading with them, especially when they're down this far on resources.
Yeah, I'm just going to trade in before tagging as well. Just don't get the information before playing your threat.
Yep. Oh, of course, yeah. I mean, it's not hasted this turn, so there's no point in playing in main 1.
Exactly.
If it was hasty, I'd say, yeah, play it out. Get in there for some more. All right, we'll eat a Mana Leak here, and then I believe the deck was not shuffled, but I don't know. I can't see the game commentary. So I don't know if he knows his top deck or not.
It is a Liliana, though, and that is actually not as scary as it usually would have been. due to
No, not the worst. I mean, he's already pretty
Wolfgang's,
low. If it's a land, he can attack with this this Scab Clamp Berserker and then like put
Yeah.
Arakasi on the back burner. You know, put him in a pretty bad spot. I don't
yeah,
even
3
know.
power creatures.
Yeah, I don't even
Possibly.
know if you care about that walker. I think you just let it go. for
Yeah,
the
that's the
most part.
land.
Yeah,
Just
that's
base absolutely like 4 damage to turn, a 3 damage
Yeah.
burn spell in hand, and
and if you know the land, you
Hey.
can two spell. You can two spell, which is
couldn't
strong.
remember, does the mentor hit ping for planeswalkers?
No, it does not. It's lands, artifacts, and creatures.
Yeah, oh god, if it had hit planeswalkers, that'd be nice.
I mean, it's already a pretty good card. I'm not gonna.
I'm
gonna say it's
actually not
better.
a big fan of it in Red Deck Win specifically. I'm
I
still running it.
I like it. I actually still like it because it actually has some interesting niche applications beyond just like getting random stuff like weathered wayfarers and fetch lands. Like it does all that. Sure, I think you kind of see the card and you know it does that. The interesting things that it does is it actually stops certain combo decks. It's kind of a hate card. It's kind of a
Agreed.
free hate card because like Time Vault is a deck, and like Time Vault does 4 damage a turn. Every extra turn you take because you're using your keys activated ability, you're using your Time Vault's activated ability, taking 4 damage. So like your limitation on turns is probably pretty low. You probably have very few that you can take if Red Deck Wins is kind of doing its thing and beating you down. Now, given like you had to play a Harsh Mentor to like do that, so like you're probably a little behind on your own damage game. That land was big. There is what, a fairy?
Correct.
This fairy doesn't look great. It's gonna block, I guess.
No. Yeah. It's not even gonna get to block. It's just gonna get.
I think I would just throw the burn at face.
It just doesn't
okay.
block. Just throw down a threat. Honestly, and hold it. I'd probably hold out the burn spell even just.
Exactly.
in
I would
case
throw
it's
it.
through a
I would throw it
blocker.
at face. I would throw it at face. Just
No,
to...
I'd just hold it up and wait till end of turn before throwing it at face.
He's out of
case
cards
the
right
bigger-
now. He's out of cards right now, so I kind of like doing it now because that means any like planeswalker he plays here is nothing. It just can't play it, and then you see he draws this big old thing. But it's not gonna block next turn, so the game is over because there's a what is this guy? This 3/2 Minotaur. This is a big card though. Like I mean, you can't really play it and expect to win here because it's gonna damage you every upkeep too. But it's huge. It's one of those cards that like Red Deck Wins does not want to see. I think. Actually, I think I was playing against you guys, and actually it was in the finals. Yeah, with this guy and then like Phyrexian Obliterator and then like Kalidas or something. Like I had these big knots because I was expecting your deck and actually I think it ended up getting there, but like it was yeah.
Sadly.
Well, I mean I had to jump out, so I mean you still got to get Rammy. Plus honestly I was just playing for fun. Like I was just like hey, Red Mage, like,
I think all of us were really.
Yeah, I'm playing for fun, man. Like I can play my joke deck, my Sui Black deck. Cause I just love the deck. I think it's hilarious.
This is a very solid hand from Arakasi. Just some. Oh yeah.
This Lotus will probably get
That is
sniped.
a hand. Oof.
I assume this Lotus gets sniped unless he decides to leave up a remand, which remand against Lotus is not good. I wonder what he does here. You leave up remand or
God, if
duress.
wasn't a play, that'd be really. Oh God.
Yeah, it'd be game.
Arakasi would be dead probably. Yeah.
Well, the thing is with the Lotus hands too, and no, you know this. Like on the aggro decks, the Lotus hands are weird, right? Like the Lotus hands are like really great against the decks you just want to go fast against, but oftentimes like they're a little bit imbalanced from the standpoint that like they play really strong turn 1 and 2, but you're really reliant on reduced resources thereafter.
Yeah, you're playing. You're using a card that doesn't deal damage. That doesn't give continual mana.
And it does not recycle itself. So like at that point, like you're lower on mana than you want to be. So if you draw poorly, like you just get stuck with a bunch of cards that you can't do anything with, which is kind of one of the weird things that like happens with Red Deck Wins. And like I've seen it with like Stewie Black. Like that deck has more acceleration than like the Lotus Red Deck Wins decks do. Because it's got Demonic Consultation, Dark Ritual, a bunch of stuff like that. It's got basically four Lotuses in the deck or 4 Rituals in the deck. When you kind of roll up,
he goes for the pillar instead.
I don't think that could possibly be correct, but what do I know?
No, I'm kind of agree with you there.
I think mana efficiency is why Red Deck Wins is so good. It's not anything. I mean, like it does damage directly, but it's not because of that. It's because the spells are all just so cheap that.
If I actually had a really answer-heavy hand, I could have seen it.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you just had remove spell, God, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
But that's just not the case.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like it, but it is what it is.
Did he just send? He just went Arc Trail himself and once Arakasi for 2.
Oh, I would do the same thing. I
Love
think I
it.
would do the same thing
Love
just to
it.
get the. Yeah, I've done that. That play is very common. If I don't have a creature on board that can sustain 1 damage to its backside, I'll burn myself in red deck wins. Suspend play, I would assume. I mean, you're gonna get remanded,
Yeah.
but you just do 2 spell. Like, then
Yeah,
you have an option to 2 spell next turn, set up the Keld, whatever that thing is.
Yeah.
That card I don't think is great, but it's gonna be
No.
fine.
It's very hit and miss, and I think it's
Yeah.
too much miss, in my opinion.
I don't think you want cards like that, red deck wins. I think you want cards that are just hit.
Yeah.
Because there's enough of them. Like,
The only like straight up card draw card I believe I play in my version is Line Up the Stage.
Spectacle one, yeah. That one's
Yeah, that was
And
just like
this is
well.
officially the last match still going on. Just letting you know.
good. Okay.
So.
Why are we not hemming here? I think, I don't know. I guess, because him's not going to get better. I guess this allows you to remand this thing? I don't know. I guess. I don't know. I guess it sets up your him for the it sets up your him for the final. Fair enough. So then, like, we probably see the Pyromancer here, but like him's not even great here. Although the embodiment's big. It's a big lad. Can't block the menace creature, and the Pyromancer is going to give actually a means of value for the red deck wins, which is generally not where you want them to be. If they're getting value off their cards, it's generally bad. Like, generally they're in for efficiency. So if you him here, because you're not making your, I guess you're making your land drop to play out this embodiment.
yeah, he has to
Embodiment.
sacrifice something here.
What? It's a
Already
4/4. It's a 4/4 flyer.
Yeah.
It's fine. That's a bigger body than everything on the board, but
The question is, what is he sacrificing?
him.
Went with the him, yeah.
Yeah, because he's just expecting that if he's making this line, he's not going to have time to cast the him. The card's just going to come out of the
he's
hand.
right about that.
Yeah. I mean, well, maybe not.
So
What's he draw? All right.
actually-
He was 100% right. Yeah.
Yeah. So Zelda's stuff is just incredible in his hand. Oh, and he gets the mana to just curve off.
Stifle is actually going to stop the Rift Bolt from hitting.
Yeah.
It'll leave exile
if it was
forever.
for Rift Bolt, that'd be a if it was Stifle, that'd be a Rift Bolt for 5. Probably going with the embodiment and just swinging.
The cool thing is, though, from WolfgangCloud's standpoint, you don't care if he's stifling that card, because that means he's not doing something to actually win the game or stop you from winning with what you have as far as advantage on board, in my opinion. So, like, I don't really care that much.
And
Like,
you're drawing too, for that sake.
yeah, I mean, like, it's just like the bar is so high on this few resources to have to answer stuff that, like, it just doesn't feel very great to me. I'm gonna play a blocker out and then leave up Stifle, I suppose, to stop the Rift Bolt, which does allow him to double block the Stormblood Berserker. We're also gonna get a 1/1 off of this. Actually, no, we will not get a 1/1 off of the Young Pyromancer because this thing will just be stuck in suspend, so it'll never actually get cast. Okay, well, now we're in trouble because we let the suspend counter
No,
come
I
off.
do believe he would have cast the Rift Bolt if he removed one spawns. I believe.
No, that's not how it works. Because I've done it a ton of times with Ancestral Vision positive. You can actually get it stuck in exile. So if you stifle the last trigger, it has 0 time counters on it, which means that it doesn't tick down anymore on your upkeep. So it's 0, and it's just stuck in exile.
It is essentially not
Correct.
suspended anymore. It's just exiled.
Yeah, it's just exiled. It's like, okay, it's exiled. That's like also like how like some of the Eldrazi with ingest like can f up stuff like that, or yeah. So the stifle could have
just God.
Yeah. So this is a pretty big beating. And the more cards you put in the bin, the more you set up a Barbarian Ring for your opponent. And you're certainly going to be at 2 if you're not already dead. I think you're just dead here.
Yeah, he's just dead.
That's just dead. Okay.
You can block 2 of them and you're still gonna take 5.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
gonna be game.
Yep, that's game. And that's kind of for the crowd out there. Like Arakasi was able to get one off of Red Deck wins, which is sweet because like I do think the blue black tempo deck can win this matchup. It's got to get a little more lucky. It's hard. It's hard.
Yeah, it's a bad matchup. It's not unwinnable. But
Yeah,
correct.
No,
it's definitely the red deck is definitely favored.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm actually saying it's specifically designed to not beat the aggressive decks. Especially,
Yeah,
like,
I
it
think
has
in
a lot
building
of
that's
ways to
fine.
find
I
out
mean,
against
like
decks.
you don't always need to run the most matchup neutral deck. I mean, if you want to do that, just play Jeskai. I mean, it's probably the most matchup neutral. Is it the best at beating everything? No, but it's got game against most everything. You're probably never really that far below 60-40 in your worst of matchups. I'm sorry, 40-60 in your worst of matchups. But your best matchups are probably still like at most 70-30. Maybe against Red Deck wins, I think it tends to be pretty good. But challenging matchup, but still pretty cool to see. Get to see it kind of go, and that's it's one of the things like I think we were talking about a bit before we started the stream is that Arakasi's really had a dominant position in this event. And I think, aside from him being a good player and having a well-built blue-black tempo deck, I think a lot of it has to do with the metagame.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I haven't played it all this season, and all I've been playing is mono red, but I was one of the main aggro players. I believe also a lot of other aggro players have been either leaving or playing significantly less recently, at least in the 10-point challenge in my experience.
Yeah. Well, and I think even going back to that time frame, being fair, I think you're a good red deck wins player, but I also think the meta historically was set up pretty well for red deck wins to kind of thrive in it as well. One of the things I do too. One of the things that I don't play that often in the event. I actually prefer to commentate. I'm on a brief hiatus from Magic anyways right now. The deck of choice that I ran, at least during the standard, event, was pretty much always mono white, like Death and Taxes style decks that were meta'd for red decks. Because I think that deck, it was kind of doing something similar to what you were doing, right? I looked at the meta and I said, aggro is good in this metagame, but I still have a little more range than red deck wins because I have probably more options against combo, but I'm a little slower. But I also have great hate pieces against red deck wins that are really free and kind of just incidental. And did pretty well with the deck.
Having played against White Weenie, Death Taxes, whatever you want to call those kind of decks before.
The Weenie decks are horrendous.
Absolutely not a good matchup for mono red.
No, it's bad. Death Taxes is better than
Weenie decks can be fine, but Death Taxes is oh god, it is terrible, especially if they go for the Soul Rank build.
No, because I think I was playing Wolfgang one time with Death and Taxes. He was on medium red, and I forget the sequence. And our first game, he raffle stomped me. This medium red, it can do that. It had fast mana. I just got run over. I was like, okay, this is great. The second game, we had a very close one. It was actually literally close. I'm not making a joke about it. It was close. We had a lot of exchange. And the third game, I raffle stomped him. It was turn 1 off of a Mox Diamond, Core Firewalker. Turn 2, Mana Crypt into Equip Jitte on Core Firewalker. He was like, all right, just kind of like baseball bat magic, as I like to call it.
I was thinking more so the DT version's running Soul Ring than the medium red version.
Correct, yeah.
I have seen some. I have played against, but it was basically Death and Angels. I don't know, let's call it that. For lack of a better name.
Medium white?
Played, medium white. Let's call it medium white. Then Texas.
Sure.
I don't know.
No, please. Great white.
It was a haiku.
Yeah.
Great white track.
No, I think medium red is a better deck than I think generally speaking, just in the dark, medium red I think is a better deck than Death and Taxes. I think Death and Taxes is very dependent on
I completely agree.
The meta game you're in. I think Death and Taxes is a better option for a specific meta. I think they're both powerful decks. I think they both can win events even in the dark. But I think Death and Taxes, where it gets stronger, is based on pilot mulligan decisions, knowledge of the matchup, and then knowledge of the meta. Because you can do a lot of stuff with just white cards. It's an aggro control deck, is what it is.
In any unknown meta, you're usually gonna be wanting to play the reactive deck or a deck that just somehow has the answers for everything. And rarely do you ever have the latter. It's rare that you have a deck that's just so well-rounded that it can answer anything. That's usually your Jund kind of strategy or generic powerful mid-range. Yeah. And even then,
you're just really draw dependent then. And if they have a fast mana starts, you just have a tough time. But medium red, it's been repointed, since it kind of had its heyday. It's still really good. But one of the interesting things that it kind of does to the format is a lot of the removal in the format tends to be red-based. You have Swords to Plowshares, Path to Exile, Fatal Push. But the most efficient removal is generally the highest density and most efficient removal resides in red, which medium red kind of turns, trying to change that paradigm because that removal is junk against medium red. Its threats are just too big to habitually kill with 1 and 2 mana burn spells. So it kind of puts the format in a weird spot where you need to make a conscious choice. Is Go for the Throat and Doomblade, are they good enough? And I tended to think, when that deck was really dominant, I was playing stuff with Esper with Go for the Throat and Doomblade in it. I don't think those cards are great in the dark, but if I was expecting to see a lot of medium green, medium red, I just had to do it because the density of red-based answers or efficient red-based answers just didn't cut it, in something like Jeskai. All right, so
I think we do have a final match.
Yeah, Finals
Wolfgang
is on the way. I have Reiyu's hand. I do not have Wolfgang's, but
Okay, so
it's
aggro
insane.
v aggro.
No, that's incorrect. Yeah, it is an aggro matchup. It is mono red versus what workshop Weenie
Weenie.
battle bus, aggro artifacts, whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
A Jeskai version, which is the one we're sadly seeing both handcams on right now.
I
But-
don't think I'm shocked by this being the result. Now, I do think Dark, or Reiyu had to probably run decently well, but I mean, there's a lot of combo right now. It looks like there's some high tide,
Yeah.
which is not great versus really hyper aggressive strategies.
Blue white
There's,
control is fine, but it's not lovely. There's a 4-color mid-range tempo deck.
I would call it
Tempo.
Xerox. Yeah, I think the
Xerox,
4-color mid-range deck. I haven't seen their build. I don't think that's a great red deck wins matchup, but I think it's fine against
No.
BattleBots.
Yeah, absolutely. Because
And I've definitely beaten red deck wins with it, but with varieties of that. But it's not easy. You have to get a little lucky. But yeah, I think it kind of makes sense to see this because you've got an Academy deck, which is depending on how they draw. If they have their best draws, they're going to beat pretty much anything outside of Force Will, But
this is actually interesting. Now, I'm not an expert on the workshop decks, but if I'm gonna make a hedge, I'm gonna actually lean against the workshop winning here.
I think Workshop is in a rougher spot. I think the point removal. You think it'll win? I think Wolfgang's got the advantage.
I think he keeps the right kind of hands. Yeah. With
I
equipment
think-
being able to out-threat him.
I'm curious to see how Reiyu plays this. Like, I think
True.
a less experienced player will lock up this axe and get blown out utterly. And I think if I were in, Wolfgang's gonna let him. Let him lock up the
absolutely.
axe. You think you let him lock up the axe? I
Yeah.
don't know if I like letting him lock up the axe.
No,
I think I may.
don't like it either. I
I think I may like leaving up Lava Dart and then like the burn spell to like hit the follow-on threat and then blow this thing out. Or if he makes the mistake, eat up 2 of his mana for free, which is huge.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been against just like play Scriptline, kill a land, just kill it if he
This is a problem. This is now a 4/4.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's. You hate to
Can't
see it
kill
happen, right?
now. That's gonna
No.
be what.
Well, he can block. He can attack and then get blocked and then kill it.
No, because that is a that's what you should
Is that
have to
first
block.
strike? It's what?
Telemunch has to attack, my friend.
Yeah, so I think you're going to see a block because it has to attack, and then he can kill it with the Galvanic Blast, which is a 2-for-1, but it's still a 2-for-1, so it's still good.
No,
Like, I like
it's a 2-for-2, right?
It's a 2-for-2, yeah, but I mean, like, I like this, and like, if you're in Reiyu's position, like, you still probably block because it has to attack. I mean, I think honestly, I like that exchange better from Wolfgang's perspective because it forces his opponent to play to the board with less efficient cards, which I think is important. Well, he drew a lot of mana there.
What surprised me there is that Reiyu didn't sacrifice his
No, because he wanted to eat the thing.
Well, he
Oh,
also
but-
has a lot of cards in hand. He's only going to get 1 off of it, right? I
No,
mean, he
no,
likes these cards.
No, so what happened is that the Telemunch dealt 2 damage, and then he
He could have
got
sacrificed it in
ranked
response,
afterwards.
but he would have
Yeah.
discarded his hand, right?
Oh, true. It discussed your hand. I keep forgetting that.
Yeah, I mean, he has
Yeah,
to
fair
discard
enough.
3 cards, so I mean, he gets 1. I mean,
Yeah,
maybe
keeping
one
the
better.
Aethersworn Cannon is definitely better than. Absolutely right.
The Aethersworn Cannon is actually interesting because Lava Spike cannot deal with it now.
True.
Yeah, Lava Spike cannot deal with it.
I don't believe.
Or Skullcrack.
Well, Skullcrack can't hit creatures, period. But,
Sorry, I
was
thought
it-
it was neither can Lava Spike.
well, Lava Spike doesn't work because of the ability on the
I
Canist.
No, but I think you're thinking of Lava Dart. That's Lava Spike.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
This
is that Spike?
to the
I'm
tree.
sorry,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm thinking Dart. The new art got me. I'm thinking like sack your land, kill this thing because it's actually probably
Yeah.
relevant to eat up his mana.
Oh, that's Shard
Oh.
Volley.
Well,
Lava
you
Dart.
still
Oh, no,
sack
Lava
land
Dart.
on Lava
Yeah,
Dart. Backswing, flashback. No attack.
God, that has won me some games.
I like Lava
That is
Dart
a
quite a bit. It's a good card.
I
It's
think
better than
it's
Poke's
one
thing.
of the best 1-mana burn spells in the deck, honestly.
I don't know if it's the best, but it's got it's
Well, in the creature matchups, it definitely is. Oh god.
no one plays around it is the biggest thing. Like, it's
Absolutely.
really cool from the standpoint that like no one really expects it. That was big. Oh wait, no, it's not. He
Speaking
doesn't
of
land yet.
unexpected threat, I don't have Wolfgang's deck list, but I do wonder if he's on my favorite tendency to play Mutagenic Grove, because that card is pure gas.
I run it in almost all my aggro decks. It's just so free.
It is so good.
It's so
That's
free.
it.
Like
It's a card that no one ever expects because it just comes out of nowhere.
No, and it's also like what it does in the mid-range matchups is pretty big. Like you can still alpha in, and like it could be basically a suicide attack, a chump attack with some of your creatures, but sometimes it's not, and you just eat their Courser Crewfix with like your crappy like Rakdos Cackler or whatever. And it's like, how do I win? You know. Based on that draw right there, I like attacking. If you had a fetch land,
but he's just gonna lava spike and then I don't know what. Light up the stage, maybe.
Yeah, well, he can't light up the stage because of
I do agree that he should probably have attacked first, though, just to
I like
see
the
if he could've
attack
gotten
and then
through.
light up the stage, try to find a land. And if it's a fetch land, like you're in the money because you just
Then again, if he did,
Oh,
he can't just run one spell. You have to remember if he just blocked.
it's Thraxos. That's a big boy. But he has to go to 2, which is not irrelevant. 2
It's
means you
actually
can
a good
attack.
point. If he had attacked with Eidolon, he would have probably been dead. No, he would have been dead straight up unless he did.
Yeah. So going to 2 is not irrelevant. Now, I think what I would like here, is like you're not going to die this turn. You're going to take. Well, actually, no, you will. You have to block. So you have to block. But what you can do post blocks is sack the Fiery Islet, try to find a land, and then use the Searing Blaze to do the extra damage you need to do.
True, that's one way. Or just
That's
draw
one
a
way.
spell.
Well, you don't attack. So you have to attack. Actually, no, you attack. Force the trade at spectacle cost. It doesn't work. It's not just attack. All right, he does this. All right, he wins.
You do have to remember, even if you do draw into
So interestingly enough, the light up the stage would have hit.
just gonna do it.
Yeah, would have hit the fetch land to set up the Searing Blaze on the last turn. Oddly enough, now, is it a high probability draw? No. I mean, I was just saying that's one thing you could have done on the last turn, but like, I still like the way he played this. I do like sacking that sack land.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, the one thing I didn't like is the sequencing for Pirates of
press on one free compared to what you can draw into.
Yeah, I mean, I think it would have been a wrong line to hope to hit Misa a fetch land. You have 5 in the deck with Prismatic Vista, but okie doke.
Ginger brute.
So
Oh,
so that's a mulligan. That's a mulligan on Wolfgang side. I think this is a mulligan too. You could possibly. I think it's a mulligan though. Just too. It doesn't have enough mana. You want 2 lands in your openers at a minimum.
I think this is a fine keep from Wolfgang being on the play actually. Draw, sorry.
Draw, but I wouldn't be shocked if.
Definitely getting rid of Law Rift. Or no, the Fire Blast is a bad card too.
Fire Blast is pretty bad in this matchup. Like you're gonna have to be killing a lot of creatures. Like, I think this is one of those matchups where like your burn is gonna be more committed to like killing their little idiots like Ginger Brute.
No,
like,
no doubt.
You know, like
the one argument I can see is Fire Blast takes out something bigger, like I believe that's Ramroll we have.
Yeah. It is. Oh, I'm sorry, that's a Goblin guy in that hand too. I didn't think this hand had a permanent damage source.
No, it did. That's the big.
Yeah, the new art on it just like tossed me. I thought it was like a 2 or 3 mana burn spell. That land's a good pickup. His land's gonna do a lot of damage to him. Now here's a question: like you probably just guide here and then Rift Bolt. Or, I'm sorry, Arc Trail on the following turn for their next threat, which is gonna be huge.
Yeah, you're either Arc Trail or you Galvanic Blast and then set up Seal of Fire in case they only have 1 threat still.
Yeah, so I think the way this will sequence out is that I believe we're going to see a Porcelain Legionnaire get played next turn for 2 life loss. And we're going to see this Arc Trail just do what Arc Trail can do in certain matchups, which is just own people, just 2 for 1.
Yeah, as someone who's living in the future, it does seem... Oh, wait, no, 2 blue.
But
that's going to be positive.
I think regardless in this matchup, like I'm happy to have a card like Arc Trail around, and it's going to do some good work here.
Really important, he went with the Academy and not the Fetch Land, which means that when he's going to get both his creatures killed, that's going to do nothing.
Yeah, but I mean, he can only play 1 land next turn anyways. He's already got it in hand, so it's like it doesn't really matter that much.
True, yeah, the main difference would be if he draws another land.
But if he drew it, if he drew it, then he can play a card. That's fair. I mean, we'll see.
Yeah, he's just gonna get in. The Goblin guy will help, but he does find all the glitters on top, so that's not gonna do anything. He can't cast anything on his turn.
Yep, as I said, all that glitters. That card can be spooky, but that's since he knows about it. That's a pretty big boon to know about that card because then you can just leave up your burn and just get it.
That's actually the one interesting thing about Goblin Guide. It does give you information.
Yeah, no, it has some upside too. Like its attack trigger is not all downside for just a hasty 2/2. Some of it's upside because you just know what's going to happen.
I think that next turn, just going for the Skull Clamp here, you saw him do nothing. Just go for it, man. Decrease the clock by,
Yeah, or the safer line is possibly to go for Seal of Fire to have an onboard answer or something, and then
yeah,
suspend
yeah,
to up the
I
damage.
said this before seeing the records.
Yeah. I think
yeah.
I like that sequence better because it presents lethal faster.
Yeah, and it's just like you're not gonna get it to resolve more than one threat at a time.
Yeah.
Not even gonna allow its Valerian to make more than one mana.
Well, and we know we're not hitting a land here, so the game is ended.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the game hasn't ended, but it's ended.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't think it's
effectively.
possible. Yeah, I mean, it's not possible at this point. I mean, he doesn't have 2 mountains, so he can't Fire Blast, but he's got.
You say that, but he could go ahead and kill his Goblin guy to.
He could. Yeah, he could shoot himself with all like 15 points of burn in his hand or
probably
whatever. You know.
Black Lotus, I don't know.
Yeah, Black Lotus, Hardcast, Fire Blast on my face. Yeah, it's not
But
literally over. So I think he's down to.
Oh no, it's literally over.
You can see,
Yeah,
is he at 1 though? Technically at 1, you know, but like he can't
No,
draw.
no, no. Goblin Guy's gonna attack for 3 next turn, right? Because of the.
Well, yeah, I'm
the
saying he
spell.
still has a draw step, but he knows what it is, and it's not good. So I mean,
Yeah,
he's
he
not
looks like he had a draw step, but that doesn't really matter because he's.
because everyone knows what it is, and it's not good. You know, off
That-
of Goblin Guy, right?
Yeah, and even so, I don't think he had much in the way of light draws left in his deck
Yeah.
either way.
So we had a pretty decent variety. The only things we didn't catch today is Paradox and High Tide. Is that
we
was our
actually
finals?
have the option.
That
to
was the
take
finals,
either
but we have some other games that we have.
Let's do
Do we
it.
prefer High Tide or Paranundrox?
High Tide.
I
High
was
Tide.
going to say High Tide.
Yeah,
You
we
want to
haven't
watch,
seen that
want to
live.
watch High Tide
Wiki.
versus Paradoxical? I can put that one on.
No, we
Yeah,
don't
of
have
course.
one. It's Paradox versus Madness, or it is, I think.
Let's watch some High Tide. I think Para is a pretty common player.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Not-
We have a High Tide. Yeah.
Yeah, let's do that because I mean you don't see that as often. It has been played in this event, I believe, earlier on. But like, let's catch it. Let's see if we can catch some of that because Academy is a great deck, but we've seen it a bit here. You know.
That would be the Nikki. Yep, right, that match.
All right, so there is a spell. Oh, whoa, things are changing. There's a spell seeker in play. I assume it has gotten probably a High Tide. We're at 15 life to 18, 2 cards in hand on a. What is Lord? This is a tempo deck, right? So it has counter magic.
Yeah, it is a tempo. Maybe you give an introduction of what Xerox actually means. You know that because I'm not an aficionado.
Xerox. Yeah, I can explain roughly what that means. I mean, first off, it's in the age before the internet, Xerox meant copying things. And the reason the deck's called Xerox is because it was one of the first big net decks. So it was basically a blue-based deck that in its very old iterations utilized cards like Brainstorm, which were cards that most folks thought were unplayable. They were just complete trash from like Ice Age. And used those with like a card called Thawing Glaciers, which Thawing Glaciers is a very slow fetch land. If you're not familiar with Thawing Glaciers, it comes into play tapped. You can play 1 and tap it and find a basic land and put it into play, and at the beginning of the next end step, Thawing Glaciers goes back to your hand. Which is very, very slow.
But it is shared advantage, right? That is the difference there.
Well, it's a card advantage.
Back with the Confluence, which is interesting because that's going to leave him with 1 mana. Does he have a way to use the High Tide's 2 remaining mana?
Probably
Like
not. And the High Tide is exposed. Maybe he does. He could have like a Snap. Snap would
maybe
do
just
it.
a way to get High Tide back from the grave. Like I don't know. What's
Yeah, but there's a Deathrite Shaman in play. It's gone. Deathrite Shaman is gone.
No, because he doesn't have the mana to do that.
Yeah, Noxious Revival could get it out of there before the Deathrite killed it, ate it. But going back to Xerox, so basically Xerox is a deck that had.
Well, yeah, that was assuming he won't tap, which he does end up doing.
Yeah, he can't. So I mean, that's probably game here. But is this game 2 or 3?
We don't know.
It's hard to tell.
Yeah, can somebody ask them actually while I fix the stream?
Yeah. So I don't know if we're gonna get to see High Tide do anything here. It looks like it's gonna get beat to death, but it's a tough matchup too. Like I didn't know that before choosing this one. It's a tough matchup for High Tide because tempo tends to beat the crap out of
Oh, absolutely.
lower combo decks.
High Tide is a combo deck that is really weak against aggro and tempo, but quite solid against especially
Mid-range
control. Quite, yeah.
It's gone down a bit in my estimate versus more hard control, just due to the printing of a secondary force of will in the form of force of negation.
I am so glad that exists now.
It does a bit of work.
They can't use themselves.
Because like one of the common play. All right, so this match is over.
And this match is over.
Sorry guys, I thought High Tide was gonna be pretty sick, but yeah, it's tough. Tough matchup, not an easy one to win with High Tide.
Yeah.
High Tide's a very polarizing deck. I don't mean polarizing as in people's opinions, but it's polarized as far as matchup percentages.
What do you guys want? Tempo versus control, or madness versus? Oh, never mind. That's over. Also,
Paradox.
Yeah, madness. We've already seen the other. Yeah. So going back to Xerox, basically Xerox, what ended up happening is folks figured out Brainstorm with shuffle effects is really good. And if I run enough cantrips, I can run less lands. And the general theory initially was hey, I can run for every 3 cantrips I run, I can run 1 less land. So in order to do that, you're a very mana lean but mana hungry deck. You need your mana, but you don't want to float on it. And over time you won't, because you just run less than all the other decks. But what that means is that you need to have more efficient cards, because you'll oftentimes be operating on a lower mana count. With your hands, such that you want a cantrip and also play a threat. So you'll see threats like we just saw, Nibble Mongoose, Delver of Secrets is a current Xerox deck that is around and strong and good. That has very high card velocity and very high card mutability. So what I mean by mutability is it'll have cards that are the most efficient and best threats, the best selection, the best removal in the form of lightning and flexible removal, like Lightning Bolt, Thought Seizes, but just a ton of really cheap cards, a low land count, high cantrips, so that you can find your land drops and or find whatever powerful yet kind of singular effect you want, whether it be a bolt, whether it be an onboard threat like Delver, or it be a counter spell like Force of Will.
Yeah, honestly, the decks I have seen in a lot of formats be kind of a clear expression of this are the Death Shadow decks. Because those decks really try to push as many spells as possible down to only being 1 mana.
Sorry for occupying much time. That's a kind of a long question answer, but the reason it's called that is because it was just the first copied internet deck. Off the
it wasn't the first copied internet deck. That was the deck. But
that was Vegas.
But it was definitely the phenomenon that I think the story was that it appeared at the tournament, and then the following Grand Prix, a week later, everybody was doing the same thing. Because
it's really good. It's really good. It's a very
effective
way to win
you
games.
can do that?
Yep. So, anyways, let's jump into this game though, because that's a lot on Xerox. I don't know if anyone I hope I answered it. It's a lot, but sorry.
You also have a lot of viewers in chat right now. Yeah. That's exciting.
It does look like we have Lucas going to take this just next turn if Paranundrox has nothing.
If this is not, if this game is not the last game in the match, I'm gonna try to get their hand cams set up for next.
Draw 7. Draw 7 is kind of what he wants to have happen here, or
absolutely.
Yeah, draw 7, or I could see Paradox into some sort of way to generate card advantage, like a top. This is it's very hard to call this kind of game because Luca is not interacting along the axis that Para is. So if Para has the right 3 cards in hand, he can just win here. This deck can just
completely true, if I may point out. There is a Thoughtseize and a psychotic episode in Lucas's graveyard. He is able to interact in some ways.
But outside of the psychotic episode being madness with no mana available, it's not interacting at instant speed. It has interaction in the game. So. Yeah. It has interaction, correct. Most decks have some sort of interaction, but this deck's not going to interact at 0 mana,
just
on
gonna go for the Mystic Fortune, just kill himself with it.
Okay. That's a good card to have, and it could have gotten there with it. I guess something like a Paradox, right? But 1 life, not good. But that was only game 2, so we are game 1 or 2. I don't know. It could have been a really long game. I believe
it is not free, at least. That's all I know.
No. There's one more game. I'm gonna actually try to see if I can get hand game set up.
Okay. This is one where it's commentary. You definitely benefit from hand cams because kind of like Storm, the way the games are going to play out is so dependent upon hidden information for both these decks.
And a little bit less too, incredibly actually too.
What's that now?
They have some at Madness too. Really, if you don't know what is in their hand, you don't know if they could just slam everything down, draw a bunch of cards, Madness it out, or if they're just going to be
yeah. But Madness is a little more incremental.
Do you want to do hand cams either way?
If it has the
Luca, because I was talking about the last game that we were watching. Yeah, I already have your hand cam. I'm just waiting.
I'm already sharing my screen.
Never stopped. So you know, Paradox Academy or just Academy decks in general, like depending on the build, like more combo-oriented Academy decks, play with a little more known information than like Storm, like for instance.
I
But
think
not a ton
TIM
more.
just
I mean, really, it comes down
Who
to if you're not familiar with the Paradox
said
deck,
some personal information
avalanching
or something.
advantage via draw 7s.
I don't know.
So what the deck is looking to do, ideally, is use its namesake card, Academy, and
Anyways, this
Paradox
is fine.
Engine
This is
to
fine.
generate vast mana advantage, and then use draw 7s to change that mana advantage into vast card advantage, and then eventually kill them with something that likes infinite mana or tons of mana, like Walking Ballista, like Emrakul. It can almost be anything. So there is that. So it's a less incremental deck.
That's a good
very, very
start.
powerful.
That's generally a
but
good
sometimes
start.
it can lack consistency.
Well, that
Just gonna
makes
see
my
a turn
life
1
all
Signet
the
on
harder.
a Ancient Tomb. Just incredibly showing off how fast this can just be at accelerating this deck, despite modificating it to what? 6?
Yeah, and a Multi 6 is not like the end of the world for this deck.
Oh, no, absolutely not.
The one difficulty is going to be, this Future Sight in hand, but Golos is really what's going to tie this together.
Drawn from Dreams is just gonna be like, find whatever you need.
That was a huge pickup.
From Dreams.
Yeah, that was a huge pickup on the Trop Island. If you didn't hit the Trop there, like, this hand's not great. But now he's got a turn 2 or turn 3 Golos post, having played a Drawn from Dreams, which I assume this Drawn from Dreams gonna get like
I've never
probably some card draw.
actually
Maybe some very cheap artifacts, because Golos is likely to set up Tolarian Academy. So I think the most common finds, if he has access to them, are going to be a card engine and a cheap artifact, like a cheap mana-producing artifact, like Mox Opal, Mox, Diamond, whatever. Yeah. All right, so
I apologize that we can't hear Luca right now. I am trying to get him to mute himself in Hangouts, but he hasn't.
Yeah, I can't hear him on this end, but I don't have the.
No, you can't. But the people.
The stream can.
Well, just don't come off in my face.
Luca, can you hear me? And if so, can you please mute yourself? You have not muted yourself in Hangouts.
So this is an abundance of riches over here. The crop rotation is probably not going to represent Tolarian Academy. It's going to represent Inventor's Fair. So with Deserted Temple in hand, you probably leave Deserted Temple in hand, play out the Seed of the Synod, cast out Golos, find Tolarian Academy. It'll come into play tapped off of Golos. And then on the following turn, you can use crop rotation.
You can just do anything you want, really.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think I like. Well, I think I like saving
yet.
crop rotation to find the Inventor's Fair, because that just gives you any artifact with not infinite, but with a ton of mana. So it can turn into like a Welding Jar, which is a draw 7, which was not found off of the Drawn from Dreams. I don't think that Drawn from Dreams is particularly great. It was okay.
I'm going to stop commentary for 3 seconds because I need to find Luca, because this is he keeps talking. I'm gonna be right back. Give me a second. Luca, can you hear me? You need to mute yourself in Hangouts. I keep hearing you talk. You're fine. Just letting you know. I'll be gone now. Bye.
I think it's a 3-5.
All right.
3-5.
We're back.
Okay. All right. So instead, we find So the one reason I don't care for this line is because now I guess he really wants to get the Future Sight down and just do that, which is cool, but I think here you get more equity out of crop rotationing for the Inventor's Fair, which just gives you perfect selection over just like mass card draw off of the Future Sight. So I just think it leaves more options open a turn cycle later. This works. I mean, it still gets Golos down.
Here is that even if he's going to get like Academy here, which he is, sure he can untap it, and then what?
Well, he has Future Sight, so he's going to try to. He doesn't have enough mana. He
can't cast it this turn anyways.
He thought he could, and he can't. So just playing Golos, I think, was stronger. But I think he's still in a very commanding position. So we're going to see where it goes.
Oh, absolutely.
But yeah, I mean, like this is Sinbad, green Sinbad, time shifted Sinbad down here. Fidia Seer, I think. Card's hilarious. If you're not familiar with Sinbad, it's an Arabian Nights card. It's a blue and a 1/1 tap, draw a card. If it's a land card, put it in your hand. If it's not, discard it.
Notably, it draws a card. Like it actually draws the card.
Ooh, that Resto is really, really big here. God.
Yeah.
That's really punishing.
Yeah, it didn't have to happen. Is kind of the thing. So, and I'm trying to knock Para. I just think the other line was a little stronger because it left your options open for the following turn. It gave you 2 haymakers. It gave you a haymaker on board as opposed to a haymaker in hand, which the hand zone is a place that this deck can interact with. Now, interacting with the land, I guess it has mine. But
I really disapprove of Luca's choice in the res. I will say that. Like,
you like what?
I don't like Luca's choice in the res.
Art, or do you mean like what he chose? Because he only has one choice there.
No, I know. No, I don't like the choice. The choice in printing. Yeah.
Oh, the art. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
No, specifically, I don't like. Specifically, I think the old the art is good. I don't like the frame. I think you go with the old frame with like for the guy with the big hand just because it's the old frame. But
yeah, I mean, for me, like the only thing with art that gets me, and it's not like I get upset about it, but is sometimes I just don't. I will process a card incorrectly. Older cards to me are just more iconic in how they appear. Like they're just like I can look across a room and see like a Mishra's Workshop or a factory and like know what they are. Whereas like if you put the New Art Goblin Guide and like some other like Lava Spike next to each other like from across the room, I'm not gonna be able to tell. So like for me, it's easier to recognize.
It comes down to experience in the end.
Yeah, but across the room, the art is just it's a lot more complex and a lot more kind of just gobbledygooked up. It's just not as simple.
Yeah, it's a little card dependent for me because, like, for example, like Goblin Guides, you just see about as many of the new ones as the old ones, right? So like it's not as big of a deal. Whereas something like Workshop, like all of the workshops that exist in paper are the old art,
Yeah, I mean, unless someone like knows a secret that I don't think they're printing those right now. I think they're reserved.
Officially, at least.
No. That was a good pickup. That was a pretty big pickup right there. That top could allow kind of the initial gate in not crop rotating to set up Inventor's Fair.
Yeah.
To kind of get out of that by hitting
it
a
just
draw.
really needs to find something here, like, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter
I think one of the biggest things with Paradox Academy is, like, you really can't miss opportunities with it. Like, when you do, it's very big. It's very, very painful.
You can have all the mana in the world, but if you don't have anything to spend it on.
Yep. And here, like, not to knock Para, but I think he lost opportunity in this game.
Yeah.
Which I think was almost unlosable, but I'm sorry, man. I'm not trying to knock on you, Para. I think that was a pretty. It may be game deciding, I guess, is my thing.
Especially when you're up against a deck that can really just go from like 0 to nothing like this.
Yeah.
0 to nothing, 0 to 10 as well, like in the threat.
The biggest difference is, like, now the board is developed. He's had time to develop his board.
Yeah.
Before, you'd have been doing all this before they even had any sort of pressure down, which gives you a ton more options and allows you to see a lot more cards, not under duress. So you're not going to have as many forced lines where, like, you have to get rid of certain things. You can't take, certain lines that may take a couple turns to set up. Not that, like, there's a lot that needs to be set up.
Are we gonna see him play, just stretch back the life? Nope, just gonna see him pass.
Well, he can't pass here. He's gotta find something.
Yeah, he's digging.
All right, he found 3 lands on top. That's game. Yeah, I mean, I think he's kind of showing that, being like, "Oh man, this stinks," and it does, but it didn't have to be this way. Being fair,
no, absolutely.
It had to be this way. There was a different sequence on the turn 3 Golos. Like, I would have said, if anything, the game was almost decided then, but like, it just, yeah.
Yep, it happens.
It does.
I think I missequenced on that turn with Golos. I'm sure there was probably
that's what
a way.
we've been talking about.
Yeah, that was the biggest one we were talking about, man. And like, it's not to knock you or anything. I think the right line there is well, I think you thought you could play Future Sight because you tapped your Academy like you thought you had 5 mana.
Oh, I was checking. Yeah, I was like, okay, can I?
Okay.
That's what I was checking, but I wasn't sure.
The line I maybe like a little better is to just play Golos out. And what that does for you is if your opponent doesn't mise the interaction, which they mise the interaction, which stinks, you have 2 win cons in hand.
Yeah.
So, yeah, because Crop Rot, like, I was kind of shocked when you went for Academy because you could just cast Golos regardless, with the dropping the Deserted Temple, because the Crop Rot represents Inventor's Fair, which represents Memory Jar, represents anything win con, whatever you want it to be.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking after. I was like, yeah, this is probably not correct, but
yeah, I just think you drop your
go for it. And then I got mega punished for it, so I saw a lot of extra cards there, and I saw 4 lands off the top, which in a 29 land deck with like 5 or 6 lands in play is pretty bad.
Yeah, I mean that's not untrue. Like I think that's definitely.
And they could have
I
also
think-
those other cards instead of lands could have just been more mono rocks. So it's not like like there's a lot of dead cards right there.
Correct. I mean, I think when you look at it though, I mean, like like getting unlucky in Magic is kind of just one of those things that like is always going to happen from time to time to everyone. But I just think you look at it and like you tie it back to like was there a better sequence? And I think probably
absolutely. I was greedy. I was really greedy there, and I absolutely got punished for it. And he had the discard immediately too. So
I do believe was it a miscount on your end, thinking you could play the future side there?
I was thinking that I probably could. I will admit I did not 100% do the math. I think I counted that, but was like, I think I have enough. I was like, yeah, whatever. And if I don't, then I'll probably be fine, whatever. And then he had the duress, which, I mean, sometimes you have it, right? I didn't see much action coming from him, and I know... did you top deck the duress, Luca?
He did.
He did.
Okay, that's what I was going to say, because I know he's pretty aggressive with the discard in this matchup, which is reasonable. And so...
Actually, I'm only aggressive with it on like turn 1 or 2.
Well, that's what I mean. Yeah. I was figuring if you probably didn't have it if you weren't using it, and especially if you were leaving your mana up. I assumed that you probably had either nothing that cheap, because I know your deck has some fairly expensive cards if you don't get your draw outlets off. But yeah, so I mean, I got greedy and I got punished, right? And I was also figuring like worst case if I don't play it here, then it's not it could get discarded, but it's not exposed to your things like Assassin's Trophy and stuff for the turn, so I can at least try to get some value the next turn with it. But yeah. Like sometimes you high roll and sometimes you go for it and you just get crushed like that. You get punished for your greed, and I absolutely was.
That is kind of one thing that Paradox Academy really just does. You just have to draw some of the right cards and even more of the other cards.
Yeah,
right? You had
I wish
a fair bit of mana ramp and some payoff.
I wish we could have seen it in my round 2 against Pipesman. I had a turn 3. I was swinging with a 10/10 Urza token with a 9/9 Ballista in play.
Obviously, they gained some life.
No, they just died.
I'm gonna say that they were even still alive when you had all of that in play. Like I assume they gained some life to be alive still.
So that was pretty great. Well, I mean.
Well, I'm glad everyone made it out. I definitely had fun commentating on this one. I think a lot of really cool different matchups we got to see. Kind of got to see some good variety this time around. Had some combo control. What's that?
You got to see my deck get crushed by mono red.
I mean, it's a tough matchup, man. I mean, so one of the things I said during it, like you did take game 1, right? Like, so it's a winnable matchup. It's not easy. You have to play well and get lucky.
Yeah, I had some really good matches against Wolfgang as well. They were pretty close. I died to, I went 1 and 2 against him, and the second game, I took 12 damage off Parasitic Pillar, but won that one because I mean, if you're taking 12 damage in 1 turn off Parasitic Pillar, you're probably winning. But in game 3, I just got locked under it early, and I had one of my lands was Ancient Tomb too, so.
That's why when I see a Pyrostatic Pillar, I take it or counter it. I'm like, I can't deal with that.
Yeah, that was an interesting play. We actually discussed it with your choice of the Pyrostatic Pillar over the Black Lotus at one point.
Yeah, well, he had 2 lands in hand, and I'm like, he can just build his threats incrementally anyway. And I wasn't scared of him dumping a bunch of threats because I saw his hand, so that's why I took the Pillar there. Like,
I think for myself, in that situation, if he takes the Lotus, I'm going to... I know how good the Pillar is. Like, it against, like, tempo, like, it's a forced target. So there is times where I'm going to either jam it early or just wait for the right moment. And, like, jamming it early just makes them use up their thing. I think you were on the play that game, so I definitely had the possibility of getting it mana drained or counterspell.
Yeah, absolutely. If you were on the play, oh boy.
Yeah, I believe I only had a remand, so I felt like I definitely needed to take it at that time.
Yeah, I'm gonna add just a slightly different take. I don't know, from my perspective, looking at the matchup, I think I take Lotus most of the time.
Most of the time, I agree.
Yeah, I think your deck, it really depends on your hand. I mean, you give a lot of information away, not taking Lotus, basically saying I have a more reactive hand. which maybe in that case, like maybe threat density is too low, or maybe like you want to mulligan into like something that like can present a clock, or at least something that needs to be dealt with on board to force the reactive cycle of the game into the Red Deck Wins player. I mean, like you can't always do that because you're gonna eventually mulligan into oblivion.
Well,
but I think when you take it, like you give a lot of free information away, and two, like Red Deck Wins to me, like it's really less like people think about burn, but it's really just about efficiency and just being able to have reduced card economy but exceedingly high card efficiency. So like you just got to get cards through a funnel of mana, and I think Lotus just it presented a very fast clock that I think may almost have equated to the same conditions that Pyrostatic Pillar over the course of that game would have presented. But
it is arguable. In that particular instance, I saw the Lotus and I saw the sorts of threats they can deploy, and I was like, probably not. And then when they got to use the Lotus, they spent at least 2 of that mana just burning my face, which would have been better spent on one of my threats in the later game if I'd taken the Lotus.
Yeah.
I did feel that it was appropriate though, because the way they saw my hand, I only had the 1 creature threat, and it wasn't even a very good creature threat. Just a 1 for 1. And my thought process is, I know how good Arc Trail is in this format. I still have, I believe it was a Searing Spear in hand that I could use to take away his threat, and I felt that the Berserker itself, if he has one of those hands where he's looking to trade off or the creature, or it has like a 1/3, I have now a threat that he can't block, and that it puts a lot of pressure that he didn't know about.
Certainly, yeah. No, I mean, like you're gonna probably draw pressure off the top of your deck. I mean, the worst draw is land at that point. I mean, like your deck is kind of a pile of pressure.
Well, I mean, the worst draw is like a burn spell there. Like he really would have wanted.
Worst draw's a land. Worst draw's a land there.
Yeah, worst draw's a land, sure. But like a burn spell wouldn't do much there either. Just getting a 3 mana creature was what you really wanted on turn 1.
No, and at that point, like I assume Wolfgang has a pretty good idea of like the sort of contents of hidden information that your hand has, because if someone does, like if I'm playing that hand from Wolfgang's side and someone doesn't take the Lotus, my thought is, all right, they want to trade 1 for 1 on the stack more than likely, or they don't think that the things in my hand, I don't have good board cards right now. I have like one mana creature, I think is what it was, like a Goblin Guide or a Zergo.
Yeah, I think it was literally 1 threat in the hand, and that's what really made me go like.
Yeah, so my thinking is like, all right, they don't
have 1 threat, sure.
That's my thinking if the duress is used that way. So like, I don't know how he thought about what your holdings would have been. I mean, that's what I would have been considering. I'm like, all right, what do you have?
My thought process.
All right, fellas. We have had this conversation going on for a while. I think I want to wrap up. Sorry to interrupt you, but
yeah.
Wrap it up. We could.
I wanted to congratulate. First of all, thanks WolfgangCloud for just jumping in at the last minute. To make our numbers even, and then just congratulate him for just cleaning up the whole stream by going 3-0 and winning the tournament. I want to thank everybody that played. I want to thank everybody that watched. We have a bunch of viewers today. Today I'm gonna remember to send you Radiant somebody. Let me see who's Ben's on. Not Ben Wheeler, but Bengineering is on, and we can go raid the good old other Ben, I guess. Yes. So I'm gonna send you over there. As a reminder,
let's give it a good old 10 out of 10.
As a reminder, I wanted to say, you want to sign up for next week for the 10th point. I have the poll set up at !next poll. It's there. You want to sign up for the Discord again, !Discord. It's gonna get you there, and that has all of the information that you need in order to sign up, and people can help you brew decks. If you don't have a deck, you should definitely do that. The Discord is full of awesome people, and the format is great. You don't know what the format is, we have a comment set up for that too, because we're really prepared for today's stream, except for the part where we're not actually there for today's stream. But, outside of that, I want to actually apologize for all the technical difficulties that we have had. But, thanks everybody that tuned in for watching. And yeah, go raid Ben as soon as we go online. Let's do this.
Thank you, commentary.
No, I mean I love doing it, so no problem. All right, let's
Take care,
do
guys.
this. Thanks everybody for this. Bye.